Good evening everyone and welcome back to the World Online Racing YouTube channel for round number 12 of this PC Tier 1 season. We are stateside here tonight at the circuit of the Americas where we could have a new champion crowned this evening. Jarno Opmeer currently dominating the championship by 55 points. Could wrap it up today, but Nicolas Longuet, we know he's a tough competitor. We'll see what happens this evening around such a fantastic circuit. It's going to be a fun one. My name is Dan Field and tonight I'm being joined as always by Ryan Jacobs. Ryan, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, thank you, Dan. And what a circuit we've got here after last week's incredible race at Abu Dhabi. I cannot wait for the drivers to get on this Texas track because honestly, if the racing we can bring from Abu Dhabi to here, it should be as exciting as last week. Oh yeah,
absolutely. Abu Dhabi, I mean, last week was so incredibly fun to watch and it ended up in a Nicolas Longuet victory. Otis Lawrence finished in second, Jarno Opmeer ended up third. Alvaro Carreton was fourth, and fifth was Thomas Ronhar. What a top five that is. We've got 4 WOR champions in that, 3 of them being on the PC, Otis Lawrence winning it on the Xbox, and one of the most storied esports drivers in Alvaro Carreton there. So it was incredible top 5, an incredibly fun race, and there were only a few stewarding decisions. Just quickly to mention, Philip Prejnader got a 5-second time penalty for a collision with Joseph Loke, and then Piotr Stahlek got a 3-second penalty removed. So it was a really clean Grand Prix last time out, Ryan, and I'm really hoping for the same today.
Yeah, exactly that, because honestly, the racing that we saw was just incredible. We saw that Jarno Opmeer display last week from, I believe it was around P14, and to get on the podium was absolutely sensational. He did pick up light wing damage, so maybe that did halt a possible win after that little bit of drama with Esteban Pukki. But you never know in racing. Could he have won it? We'll have to wait, and that's a question for another time. But Jarno will be wanting to make up for it here tonight and wrap up the championship as well.
Yeah, it is a pretty simple permutation. Of course, there's 3 rounds to go after this one. I'm pretty sure this is round 12, and we've got 15 rounds in this season. So it's still a few shots out, but it's a win for Jarno Opmeer. Is the only thing he can do to win this championship, and Nicolas Longue needs to finish below 8th. And I mean, with the form that Nico's been in, winning in both WOR and PSGL recently, I just find that so unlikely.
Yeah, it would take like a miracle for Jarno to win this championship tonight, because Nicolas Longue is looking incredibly quick. Obviously, if you saw his Twitter this morning, he did put up a hot lap around Kota, and he did set the world record. So that's just showing you the kind of pace he does have in qualifying, potentially around here. So, it would cause probably and most likely an incident for Nicolas Longue to not finish in the top 8 here tonight.
Yeah, and of course we know how much Jarno Opmeer loves this circuit, so I really do think that this circuit of the Americas race can be incredibly fun to watch. Of course, it's the first of a USA triple header. We head to Miami next week and then Las Vegas for the first time in WOR history. That'll be so fun to watch in just 2 weeks' time. But thinking about the last time we were here, it was Rune Pedreño taking victory. He's not racing here this evening, unfortunately. Season 13 was Thomas Ronhar taking the win, and Pedreño is the only driver to actually score 2 podiums around this track, so it's very unstoried. Jarno Opmeer's been on the podium here before. No sign of Nicolas Longue though, so I'm wondering how that's going to affect his performance tonight.
Well, these drivers, they always have their ups and downs, and I think Nicolas, this will be the form he's in as well. You've just got to bet on him to really deliver a good result around here. Confidence is everything in league racing, and he's at the top of his game at the minute, so confidence is sky high. But it's good to see we've got some familiar names back. One big name, of course, the F1 Esports champion, Lucas Blakely. He is back here tonight as well. Yeah, we have a look at the grid on our screens now. In the Red Bull, it is Jed Norgrove and Dylan Warren. I believe Dylan's making his first start this season. We've got the familiar faces in the Ferrari and in the Mercedes of Tomek Perejic and Nicolas Longue, and then Jarno Opmeer and Jake Benham. Those 4 relatively consistent throughout the entire season. Great attendance from all of them. Alpine is Luke Smith and Philip Prejnader. Lucas Blakely, of course, he is a long way back in the championship. He still has a mathematical way to win it, but it is very unlikely at this point. Danny Moreno alongside him in the McLaren today. Alfa Romeo is Thomas Ronhart and Andrei Tarabukin. Then we've got Fabrizio Donoso and another championship contender who's got an outside shot of Otis Lawrence. I believe, looking at the standings, he is 85 points back, so he really does need a good result this evening to keep his championship hopes alive. Istvan Pukki in the Haas alongside Danny Berejnay, who's making his first start this season. The last time he was in WOR, he finished P6 in Austria. It was the final race of season 14. Then the Alpha Tauri, it is Tom Manley and Ishmael Fassi, and then Alvaro Carreton and Duncan Hoffland rounding out the grid in the Williams. So it is a fantastic grid that we had this tonight. We're missing Freddie Rasmussen, we're missing Josh Adowu, but I mean, Jed Norgrove and Dylan Warren, they're not slow replacements at all. And all in all, Ryan, this is a fantastic grid. Yeah, it's going to be really, really competitive. Qualifying is going to be extremely close because this is near enough an esports grid in itself. And obviously the academy drivers filling in as well. So I'm really looking forward to how this will all unfold. Qualifying is going to be just as close as Abu Dhabi. If you remember that last week, it was minimal, the separation in Q1. Close. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how this really can unfold. But obviously the weather could play a big factor in this race. Kota's been notorious for the wet weather, and we've seen Jan Otmir have an unbelievable performance here before. So let's see how this all unfolds, because I'm really looking forward to this qualifying session.
Yeah, last time we were here last season, it was a completely full wet qualifying in season 14. It was Alvaro Carreton setting his time on pole position. I wish I could tell you the exact race time, but the lap that he did, but I don't remember it, unfortunately. But yeah, Alvaro Carreton, he's been on pole here before in the wet. Thomas Ronhar's also been on pole here before back in season. Oh, sorry, it was Ronhar last season. Alvaro Carreton season 13. I got them mixed up there. Apologies there. But yeah, both Ronhar and Carreton, who had good results last time out in Abu Dhabi, they're looking to have a strong showing this evening, and in qualifying, which is about to get underway. It is very important around this track. However, Ryan, plenty of places to overtake around this COTA circuit.
Yeah, there is. That's one of the great things about COTA. In particular, in my opinion, turn 12 is going to be the most opportunistic place for a lot of these drivers to make a move. And sector 3, it's been notorious for drivers to go down the inside into turn 14 and 15, because drivers like to take a nice wide line. But unfortunately, obviously, with the addition of the marbles on this new game, it can cause a few issues when drivers do make moves, and sometimes it can be contact into that corner. So that would be one to watch out for. But again, this track really does invite overtaking.
I think Otis Lawrence, it was earlier today on Twitter, was complaining about the marbles on this game, and I know that other drivers have had their gripes about it, so I'm wondering if that needs to be adjusted heading into F1 Esports, because that is rapidly approaching. We're getting to that time of year when we need to turn our focus to F1 Esports, because really, league racing, I guess, for these top level guys, they're sort of practicing for the F1 Esports season to start. Whenever that does, we'll have to wait and see. However, if you just heard in the background, you'll know that qualifying has just begun. We will join you trackside after a quick word from our sponsors and Next Level Racing. Welcome back, everyone. Trackside here in COTA, where qualifying has just got underway. Philip Presnader, the first man out on circuit on the very familiar site. It's the intermediate tyres. Bit of overcast conditions. It's cloudy here in Texas. We see this quite commonly here in qualifying in the PC Tier 1 scene. However, no signs of rain at the minute.
Yeah, no, that's always an interesting thing, because you do wonder if, if it was predicted to rain, would these drivers gone out on soft straight away? You just don't know. So obviously there's no rain forecasted for this Q1 session, because otherwise I think these drivers would have been getting laps in quite early on these soft compounded tyres, just to make sure there's no risk of the rain really catching them out, because we've seen that a few times before where the drivers think the rain's going to be not come until later, but it actually comes a lot sooner, and then some drivers do get caught out, and the rain does come on very, very quickly on this game. So you've got to be really careful, and you've got to time it right as well. You can't afford to leave it too late to set a lap.
Let's see who else is out on circuit. Otis Lawrence is right behind Philip Presnader. Otis, he does still have a mathematical chance of winning the title. I'll read out, actually, the championship standings for the contenders. We've got Jan Otmir leading the way on 176 points. He is just absolutely dominating the field. He's 55 points ahead of second place Nicholas Longe, who sits on 121. Lucas Blakely is third in the championship on 98. He's missed a good few rounds this season. He's 78 points back from Jarno, and then Otis Lawrence is the last of the drivers on this grid that is able to win the championship. He sits fourth position on 91. That's 85 points back from Jarno Otmir. So having a look at this championship picture, Ryan, it is really just a two-horse race to the end, and I think one horse, he's got a pretty decent head start.
Yeah, it would take a bit of a fall off for Jarno to not win this championship, in my opinion. He'd have to get some really poor luck if he somehow would fumble this championship lead to Nicolas Longue, because we spoke to Nicolas last week, obviously after the race, and he still believes he's got a chance. Obviously, with this lead, he knows it's not very likely, but he's going to give it his all. So he will apply that pressure to Jarno, and hopefully, Jarno's obviously been very in that position before. He knows how to win a championship, so I'm sure he'll be able to cope with it. And like we saw in the race yesterday, he knows how to make a move and do it safely as well.
Absolutely, as we're seeing a few drivers out on circuit, Ismail Fassi being one of them. He's had a pretty difficult time this season. He's won, I think, in every single season of WOR that he has competed in. I think he's one of only 3 drivers to have taken a victory, but it's been a rough time for him in season 15. He's running out of races as well, but maybe USA is going to shine some fortune on the Spanish driver as he heads his way through the 3rd sector. Now he's got Philip Presnader just ahead of him on circuit. We saw Otis Lawrence come into the pit lane. We've also seen Thomas Ronhaar retire from the session. I'm not too sure about that. As far as I'm concerned, Ryan, he's not got a qualifying ban or anything, so very peculiar why we've seen Thomas Ronhaar retire this early, as now Ismail Fassi comes across the line. It's the first set a lap, 1 minute 37.760. I'd expect to see a lot quicker pole times than that.
Yeah, just everybody just warming up really at this moment in time, and they've obviously would have done laps after laps in practice, so obviously just getting used to the grip. And there we go, Lucas Blakely, that's a really nice lap time on the intermediates, obviously going the quickest. But yeah, it's surprising to me that Thomas has decided to retire. Maybe again he knows he's not in anywhere near of a championship fight, and he doesn't really care about getting on pole position. He just wants to try himself from the back and really put on a show, maybe. So keep a close eye on Ronhaar then, because he'll definitely want to make moves through this field. Apparently
he just wants to start from last position for some reason. I think he wants to do sort of a last to first challenge, and I guess he's not in any championship fight at the minute, so why not? I mean, he's having a bit of fun, a bit of practice in overtaking, preparing for the F1 Esports season, which is fastly approaching at this point. We've got 12 minutes left to go in this Q1 session, where we're yet to see any slick runners come out on track. Only a few drivers on the intermediates. They're all just checking, what they, what all of the my mind's gone blank. They're checking their equipment is all in order and stuff like that. I mean, it's pretty boring. It gives us a little bit of time to just talk about the race this evening, talk about the track. It's so fun to watch here, especially down where Fabrizio Donoso is at the minute. That's turn number 12, where I think we're going to see a brunt of the overtakes this evening. That'll feed you into this very technical, very tricky final sector. A lot of drivers like to dive up the inside of turn number 15 here. We could see some late lunges through there. Hopefully not all that much contact. In towards now one of the most spectacular complexes of corner around this circuit. It's the triple right-hander of 16, 17 and 18, and then into the final 2 corners, where it can catch a lot of drivers out with invalidations running ever so slightly wide at turn number 19. Then it can ruin your run through turn number 20. It's a very tricky track, very fast, very flowing. Should make for a good race this evening.
Yeah, I'd like to pick up a good point in turn 19. It's such a nightmare for drivers because they're absolutely chucking the car into that corner every single lap, and they really do push the limits on the exit. And unfortunately, a lot of these drivers do invalidate through that corner. It's probably one of the most common places. Also, turn 12 as well. A lot of the drivers do tend to cut that inside because you can cut it quite a lot on this game. And sometimes the drivers do step over the limit and do invalidate their laps. So keep that in mind for the race as well, because again, these drivers will be giving their all in turn 19 in particular on the exit. It's a common place where drivers do pick up a lot of warnings.
Absolutely is. Now we're just waiting for the first of the slick runners to come out on circuit. Lucas Blakely, Terry Buchan and Fassi, they've all strapped on a set of the slick tyres in the box, and hopefully we're going to see some action. But it is a ghost town out along this 3.4 mile circuit where we should see some great racing. It's a 28 lap race around here. I don't actually remember if I've commentated on this circuit in the F1 23 game. I remember doing it quite often in F1 22. It's a very popular track. A lot of drivers really do tend to enjoy this circuit. I think I agree with them. It's a really fun track to drivers. I can see some activity down in the Red Bull garage and in the Ferrari, both of them actually exiting the pit lane. That'll be Tomek Paradzic and championship hopeful Nicolas Longue, 55 points back coming into this race. He is going to need to put in his best driving yet all season if he wants to take it to Jarno Opmeer, but he has been in form recently, and I really do think he has a chance of keeping it alive here this weekend.
Yeah, exactly that. His confidence is sky high, like we've already talked about, really. Nicholas knows what he needs to do, and we saw his race IQ as well last week. It was simply sensational. Knowing when to go for the move on Otis Lawrence on the final lap. He had the ERS advantage, which he was perfectly saving the whole race, and he talked to us about the strategy as well, making sure they didn't really get involved in too much drama, stuck away from the traffic a little bit. And you know, I like to point out that it was really smart moves that he was making around Abu Dhabi, especially when the hard runners that were still stuck out, he managed to dispatch them relatively quickly, and that gave him that opportunity to, I believe it was dispatch for Fabrizio Donoso, who was right behind him at that point in the race. So again, Nicholas will be feeling really, really confident. Obviously winning 2 races in a row, he'll be feeling extra confident here tonight to do the same here at Kota.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just seeing people asking if I could turn you up. Unfortunately, I've got him at the max volume on Discord, and I can't change it individually on the thing. Maybe I could turn the game sound down in a little bit, but I think it's something we might have to just put up with for the time being. Apologies for that, everyone, but yeah, this session well and truly is getting underway. We have got the first driver out on circuit. It is Danny Berejnay, making his PC Tier 1 debut for Season 15. At one point, he was Mr. 100%. He was here all the way back in Season 12, won his first ever race here in WOR. Didn't race until Season 14, Saudi Arabia, and then he won that race as well. So he has started 2 races and won 2. Of course, that has slowly petered off, but he has still got a great win percentage here in at WOR. Maybe he's going to make it 3 this evening as he comes off the exit of the final corner. We'll see how he gets along his lap, but I think we've got to watch Nicolas Longuet, the man of the moment. He is incredibly quick around here. He set the time trial world record here around this circuit earlier on today. See him get his lap underway as he approaches the uphill climb towards turn number 1.
Yeah, and this first sector is really tricky, and a lot of these drivers do tend to invalidate through this part of the circuit. But again, Danny Berejnay, is really attacking this very, very nicely. You've really got to clip this inside curve to help rotate the car around, and that was really nicely done there from Danny Berejnay. And again, approaching turn 11, you want to use a bit of that right-hand side of the curb just to open up the corner as much as possible, and he's done that beautifully. And then obviously opening DRS once again down this main straight. It's where a lot of these drivers could make moves. We could see potentially 3 wide. We've seen it plenty of times in league racing where there's been a lot of drama, especially into turn 12 as well. A lot of moves get done into this corner, making sure not to invalidate on that right hand side. But that was really, really nicely done there from Danny Berejnay. And coming up into this final sector now, again, just take a nice wide line, clip that inside curb, get on the power nice and early, make sure you're not wheel spinning, don't want to overheat the tyres too much, and then through these triple right-hander. Again, really nice lines here from Danny, and make sure not to invalidate on the exit at turn 19. He'll take it quite cautiously on this first lap, but again, getting a bit out of shape, manages to catch the car very nicely into turn 20, getting a good exit. Coming up to line now, it's a 1:31.397, not a bad lap time at all from Danny.
Nice start for Danny Berejnay as Tomek Parad just goes into P2, just behind on a 31.5. Same for Nicolas Longuet. Danny Berejnay looking untouchable at the top of the order right now. We'll have a look at Otis Lawrence, who is down in 18th at the minute, but without a lap time on the board. That is to be expected. More drivers coming across the line. Jad Norgrove has gone P4, P5 for Tom Manley. Luke Smith is 6th. Here's Otis Lawrence to the line after finishing in 2nd last time out in Abu Dhabi. He'll set a P4 time for the time being. We'll have a look then at championship leader Jarno Altmaier as more drivers are coming through the final few corners. One of them being Lucas Blakely, 98 points in this championship. He's a long way back from Jarno Altmaier, but if anyone could do it, it is him as he comes across the line. It's a 1:31.470 for Lucas Blakely, goes just behind Danny Berejnay. Having then a look at Jarno Altmaier's teammate is just behind him of Jake Benham. Alvaro Caraton is just ahead on circuit as well. Coming to the line, Duncan Hoffland goes P11 with a 1:31.868. As then coming to the line, that was Philip Presnader into P3. Dylan Warren's gone 2nd. Here's Jarno Altmaier off the exit of the final corner. He's been on the podium here before in season 13. It's a 31.417. No one can touch Danny Berejnay at the minute. Jake Benham nestles himself into P3. A good start for the Mercedes drivers, but a lone man on the 1:31.3s. It's Danny Berejnay. Great time from him.
Yeah, and he even made a mistake on the exit of turn 19, which I thought, would have been a big mistake, but obviously not. He's looking very, very quick. Here is Danny, and that's a really positive sign for him in the Haas. He's looking very, very sharp around here, so confidence could be building here for Danny, because obviously getting provisional pole, obviously it's only Q1, remember. It's still got a long way to go, and this obviously doesn't set the grid. So, yeah, obviously being top of Q1 is definitely a good confidence builder for the next sessions.
You can see the drivers in the drop zone at the minute. Tom Manley, Luke Smith, Danny Moreno and Andrei Tarabukin. Tarabukin wasn't able to get a second run in, that's why he's on the 1 minute 37. Danny Moreno is definitely a name that I'm surprised to see this far down the order. Same goes for Tom Manley, and actually same for Luke Smith. Any of these guys being eliminated would be a very big surprise coming to the end of this Q1 session. We've got, I want to say, around about 5 minutes left to go maybe. I mean, we can't see with all the yellow flags in the second and third sector, but everyone is coming back into the pit lane, finishing off their second runs. It's Danny Berejnet at the top of the order ahead of Jarno Ottmer in second. Third is Jake Benham. Dylan Warren I'm very impressed with in P4 with a 1 minute 31.458. And then Philip Prejnader rounds out that top 5 on the exact same time as Alvaro Clareton, a former pole sitter here in season 13. See if he can replicate that this season, as now everyone else coming back into the pit lane. And we're just a few minutes off the final runs in Q1. Ryan, who do you think is safe in this session?
It's a tough question, because obviously all these drivers are going to be looking to improve, but I'm not too sure. I don't think anybody really is safe, because every single driver can improve on their lap time realistically. I do wonder if the top 7 possibly might all decide to retire. It'll be very, very bold, but just judging how close it is between them, I think they'll be very, very happy with those laps that they did put in. So I'll wait and see, but I'm not too sure. It's too early to call, but maybe, I think where Nicolas Longe is, I think that could be just about safe. But I feel like Nicolas will come out again, because I don't think he'll think that is safe himself.
Yeah, Nico knows he can do more. I mean, last time out in Abu Dhabi, he was on pole position by about 1.5 tenths of a second. Danny Berejnet is a name I definitely say is 100% safe in this session. The only driver on a 1 minute 31.3. Let us know, everyone in the live chat, what you think the cutoff time will be. Currently, it is set at a 1 minute 31.868, set by Duncan Hoffland. He's just 300th clear of Tom Manley, who is sitting down in 16th. So let's everyone in the live chat, let us know what you think that P15 time is going to be. And looking at it now, Ryan, I'm going to say around about a 1 minute 37 low, I think.
Interesting call. I think it will be a high 0.5. I think where Tomic is. I feel like a lot of these drivers still got a lot of time to bind, and I think that's a very bold prediction for myself. But you know, actually no, I'll go a bit in the middle. I think where Ismail Fassi is, or mid-6. Yeah, I think that's a bit more reasonable from myself here in Q1. There's going to be a few improvements, obviously, but all the drivers, apart from Jarno and Jake, obviously, have not come out yet. So let's see how this all unfolds, because it's going to be a very close end to this qualifying here in Q1.
There's a poll ongoing in the live chat of what you think the cutoff time will be. It's a 31.4, 31.5, 0.6 or a 0.7. Currently 31.5 is leading that vote. That would mean anyone from Nicolas Longe downwards, so pretty much everyone else on circuit, is not safe in this session. Let us know what you think it's going to be, and we'll find out in just a few moments time, as everyone's getting their outlaps over and done with. Andrei Tarabukin is the first man who will set us on a lap. He's got Isfan Pukki in behind him. That is Isfan Pukki, because Danny Berejnet retired in the pit lane. Tom Manley as well is in the mix too. We've got 20 brilliant drivers on this grid, and it'd be a shame to lose any of them in this session. As here is Andrei Tarabukin in towards the final corner. He'll get his lap underway here.
Yeah, and that was a nice wide line just to make sure he can gain as much speed as possible on the exit, just to carry that momentum, obviously. Going up to turn 1, you want to use a little bit of that curb on the right-hand side just to open the corner. Do a nice little drift into turn 1 just to help rotate the car, and obviously that is the quickest way around this circuit, unfortunately, into turn 1, and that was a nice line there through turn 2. And again, you want to really attack this set of corners. You really don't want to lift too much. Just go down a gear into this corner and go down to 6th gear, down into 5th. And then obviously hold it in 5th. Some people like to do that, but Andrei likes to go down into 4th, short shift back up to 5th in the exit. That was not a bad first sector there from Andrei, but a lot of time still needs to be found. Up into turn 11 now. Again, taking that wide line, chucking the car in, getting the power nice and early, using a bit of that outside curb. But again, that was not a bad first sector at all from Andrei Tarabukin.
We'll see what he can do then as he heads down this DRS straight. We'll bring up the telemetry so you can see his top speed down at the speed trap. It's going to be almost 200 miles an hour, 199 miles an hour at the braking zone for Andrei Tarabukin. Is now in towards the final sector he goes. That's about 2/10 of what Danny Berezhnay did in the second sector, and Berezhnay currently sits P1 in this session, so it's not looking bad for Andrei. But if I think a few more drivers improve ahead of him, could be in danger of being eliminated in this Q1 session through turn number 16, 17 and 18, where you've got to go maximum commitment through here, take a wide line in towards turn number 19 and speed through there, slides his way in towards turn number 20. It looks a bit of a scrappy lap for Andrei Tarabukin. We'll see if that's lost in time in the final sector to come across the line. It's P14. I don't think that's going to be enough. I think we might see Andrei Tarabukin out of this session. Isfan Pukki has put himself into P10 because Tom Manley has secured himself in the next session. A brilliant lap with a 1 minute 31.410. We're having a look at Nicolas Longuez in the final sector as a few more drivers come across the line. Donoso out of this session. Danny Moreno has been eliminated because Luke Smith come across the line and put him in that drop zone. Nicolas Longuez, he knows he's safe. He's backed off on this lap, so we'll see who else has come through the final corner. Jed Norgrove at risk of being eliminated as he comes across the line. It's P15 for him, but I think Duncan Hoffland has backed off. He's completely off the circuit, and he's actually got no front wing on that Williams. What's happened to Duncan Hoffland there? He'll be eliminated from this session, P19 and last of all the drivers that have set a lap time. But I'm wondering what happened to the Dutchman there.
Yeah, when Nicholas decided to back off, he didn't realise that Duncan Hoffland was still on a flying lap. And Duncan obviously was trying to stick to the racing line, and he was hoping that Nicholas would move out of the way, and Nicholas obviously didn't move. So unfortunately Duncan went into the back of him, and that's Duncan Hoffland's session over. And Nicolas Longuez has got a 5-player grid penalty for his troubles, so that probably will result in a restart of this session at the end of qualifying after that perfect running at Abu Dhabi. Unfortunately, we'll go back to the lobby restart most likely.
Yeah, and I think Nicolas Longuez, if he did impede Duncan Hoffland there, then could be in a bit of trouble heading in towards Miami next week in terms of qualifying. He could be facing a qualifying ban, and when he's right in the midst of a title fight with Jarno Opmeer and he's 55 points down, he needs to be starting as high up as possible. So we'll have a think about that later on. Maybe if Nico gets a podium, we can talk to him. But nevertheless, here's your classification. Danny Berezhnay, quickest of them all, ahead of Tom Manley in P2. Just 13,000 between the pair of them. Jarno Opmeer, Jake Benham, Dylan Warren, Philip Prejna, Alvaro Caraton and Lucas Blakely. None of them needed to come out for another lap. They'll all get themselves into the next session. Otis Lawrence in P9, and rounding at the top 10 is Luke Smith. Nicolas Longuez backed off on his lap when he knew he was safe. Isfan Pukki 12th, 13th for Parajic, and then Ismail Fassi and Jed Norgrove just about surviving. We lose Tarabukin, Moreno, Donoso, Hoffland and Ronald. Back over to the intermission scene now. We can digest that session. I think the big shock there, Danny Moreno and Donoso being out.
Yeah, I was on board with Donoso, and he was 2 tenths down through the middle sector split. So obviously there must have been a huge mistake either in sector 1 or midway through sector 2 to be that far down on a lap towards the end of Q1. You really expect the time to be 2 tenths up instead. So that was a real surprise to see Donoso struggling so poorly around here, because again he looked really, really quick and unfortunately just wasn't able to deliver a good lap.
Yeah, it is a real shame for Fabrizio Donoso to be eliminated from this session, and it is really sad to see. As someone's asking for the quote of the day for some reason. The quote of the day is, even at my lowest, I'm still a family guy. You can have that one, but nevertheless, we'll get back into the session. Q2 has started. I'll bring you over to the game scene now. You can see everyone immediately out on circuit, as this is normally what they do in Q2. They fit on a scrub set of their tyres and go for a bit of a bank of time, give themselves a psychological advantage when it comes to their second run. But yeah, a lot of drivers out on circuit now. We'll see what happens here.
Yeah, everybody's just seemed to rush out. Obviously all fighting for a bit of track position as well. We've got a little bit of a battle on track in the middle sector now on turn 11. A few drivers going at it. The Ferrari, the Alpine, I think Luke Smith has just been overtaken there by obviously Tomac Prages. So yeah, everybody having a little bit of fun, warming up their tyres, getting into the right window. But yeah, that's quite an interesting battle to see on track, all fight for a little bit of a track position.
Surprised no one got a penalty in all of that. That's pretty common when they're all scrapping it out, you know, on circuit in qualifying. A qualifying ban almost always happens, but it hasn't transpired here. So it's a good start, I'd say. We've got the lone McLaren of Lucas Blakely, the first man out on circuit this evening. See if he's able to make an impression here in COTA. Never mind, he'll come straight back into the pit lane. He won't be setting a banker time. I think that means that Otis Lawrence in behind. Never mind, Otis into the pit lane as well. Is that Tom Manley then? No, it's actually not. It's Ishmael Fassi, first driver out on a lap. Of course, we saw earlier on in the season a little bit of controversy surrounding himself and Otis Lawrence, but luckily I think he's improved from then. He's been absent for the past 2 rounds. We saw him in Spain. It wasn't a good race for Ishmael Fassi. He's really struggled this season, and I do hope that COTA could be the turning point for him.
Yeah, we know he's got talent, Ismail, so hopefully he can really just get his head down and pick out a good race. And obviously past races there's been frustration there, which has really boiled over, and that's an invalidation there for Ismail Fassi. So again, that'll be a bit heart-wrenching there for the young Spanish driver, so that's a real shame for the AlphaTauri man.
Yeah, not a good start to the session for him, neither for Tomac Paragic on the circuit. He's invalidated his lap time as well. That'll leave Luke Smith just ahead of him along this track. We'll see what Luke Smith can do around here in COTA. Multiple time podium sitter in the past here in WOR PC Tier 1. Really made an impression. He made a splash on the PC scene about 2 game cycles ago. I want to say on F1 2021 was when Luke Smith really did break out, and now he is a solid, I'd say, midfield driver in this pack. We expect to see him in and around this Q2 range. I would love to see him in the final parts of qualifying. He's purple in Sector 2. We'll see if that translates over to a good final sector. Of course, no one else on a valid lap in front of him, so he is, of course, going to be purple along through here. We'll see him come through the final few corners. His teammate for the evening, Philip Presnader, in behind, and championship leader Jarno Ortmir. Seeing someone asked for the championship standings in the live chat at the minute. Jarno Ortmir leading the way on 176 ahead of Nicolas Longue behind, who's 55 points back on 111 points. It's 55 points back from Jarno Ortmir. He comes across the line with a nice 1 minute 31.483. A good banker time from Jarno Ortmir, especially if that's on a scrub set the tyres.
Yeah, it was a really nice lap there from Jarno. I'm not surprised, by the way, why Luke Smith did back out of that lap, because he did go off the track about 2 times there. So if he didn't improve and he somehow managed to get his way through into Q3, he probably would have got penalised for his stewards if somebody did decide to report that. But yeah, Jarno Ortmir looking very, very quick. He did say that this is one of his favourite tracks on the game. So again, this is what you expect from somebody who loves one circuit in particular. They usually tend to dominate and do very, very good lap times around it.
Yeah, Jarno Ortmir, we've seen him in past game cycles on in different leagues. He is incredibly quick around this COTA circuit. Of course, he's not actually translated that all too well here in WOR. He's only scored 1 podium along through here, but that is, I think, the only time he's actually raced around this circuit in WOR. As I recall, he wasn't actually racing in season 14 last time we came here, and we've only come here twice. It's hard to believe that in 5 seasons of WOR PC, we've only entered this brilliant 4 seasons of WOR. We missed out the first 2 in season 11 and season 12. We didn't come to this great track, but I'd always think of it as a bit of a staple on a league racing calendar. You know, you never have a season of league racing without COTA on it, but WOR, I guess they like to be different. But luckily, we've conformed to the norms, and Jarno Ortmir is going to come into the pit lane as everyone else in behind is coming out on track.
Yeah, Luke obviously likes to do a lot of things different around the league racing scene, so it's no surprise that WR have taken their time to put this back on the calendar, but thankfully they have, because honestly this is one of the best tracks on the entire game. It invites the most exciting racing, but finally a few more drivers decide to come on fresh set of soft tyres, so in theory these times should be a lot quicker. I'm expecting the 1 minute 30s possibly to be close now. I think Lucas could be one of the first drivers to get into the 1 minute 30, so we'll have to wait and see. But obviously it is only Q2. The track is obviously still going to get quicker and quicker with track evolution, so let's see how it all unfolds. This time around, Lucas is saving the battery and he isn't racing everybody else on track, but there is a little battle once again in the background between the Alpine and the Ferrari. These guys just can't help themselves from a little bit of a race.
They got to be careful here in qualifying. Of course, if you make contact, you can get a grid penalty, and you'd get some damage, and then your run will be completely over. You're not going to set any competitive lap time with wing damage at all. So they've got to be careful here in qualifying, but I think everyone is well adjusted. They've now begun to spread themselves out. Of course, you don't want to be too close to the driver in front so as to not catch any dirty air. You can see this brilliant camera shot that we've got down at turn number 19 where you can see turn number 1, the peak of this circuit is now Lucas Blakely. We'll see him on his lap, currently 3rd in the championship at the moment. He's missed a few races this season. I wonder if he turned up to every single race, would the story of the championship standings be a little bit different? Of course, it's a would've, should've, could've situation. Nevertheless, Lucas Blakely climbing up towards turn number 1 and into the first sector where he's going to take this downhill approach in towards the twisties, the S's section where you have to go maximum commitment through here, completely flat in towards turn number 5, 6 and 7. Then you've got to slow it down ever so slightly in through this end part of this first sector, then braking in towards what I believe is turn number 9 through turn number 10, which is completely flat in modern day Formula 1 cars, and then downhill towards turn number 11 where you want to use all the track that you can on exit, then open up on entry, then open up the corner along the exit to get the maximum top speed down this beautiful DRS straight. Open up that rear wing and get your top speed. We'll bring up the telemetry for Lucas Blakely. We saw 199 for Andrei Tarabukin in Q1. Will we see 200 for Lucas? It's 198, ever so slightly slower down that back straight, but nevertheless in towards sector 3 now. It is a 1 minute 1.590 for Lucas. It's looking around about a 1 minute 31.3, I think, here.
Yeah, it's looking really, really quick from Lucas. He's really nailed this lap so far. No real big mistakes. Obviously, he'll know where to improve on his final run. But this has been a really tidy lap so far. Coming up into turn 19 again. Let's see how committed he is. He goes down 2 gears through there, so maybe that's something to do with the setup. But that's really nicely done again. Into turn 20, getting a really nice line on the power. That's a 1 minute 31.292. Not too far off with your prediction there, Dan.
Yeah, he found a good amount of time in that final sector. Nicolas Longuet, though, he is doing a stellar job on this lap as Danny Bergevin has nestled himself to the top of the order, just 700th clear of Lucas Blakely. Here is P2 in the standings. Nicolas Longuet through the final few corners. He was purple in at sector 2 and he's miles clear of Lucas Blakely through there as now Otis Lawrence splits Danny and Lucas. He goes into P2. There's Nicolas Longuet to the line with a 1 minute 31.020. What a lap time from him there. That is mind-blowing to see that in Q2. Jake Benham has come across the line with a 1 minute 31.272, but no one at the minute trumping Nicolas Longuet. Jarno Opmeer, though, is coming into the final sector, and he's in around about that same lap time in sector 2, and he's purple as well.
Yeah, this is looking really, really quick here from Jarno. He's looking very, very sharp around this COTA circuit. Again, through this triple right-hander, keep a nice tight line, and will he be able to pip Nicolas Longuet here in Q2? We'll have one. Everybody will have one final run if they're quick enough. Especially Jarno, who's running out of time here, but that's a nice final corner again, making sure to use up every inch of the track, and he just falls short. But we have got a qualifying battle on our hands here between Nicolas Longuet and Jarno Opmeer. My goodness me, that's a fantastic lap time from the pair of them.
Yeah, how about that for a gap to the leader? Jarno Opmeer is the only driver remotely close to Nicolas Longuet at the minute. 37,000 splitting them two, and then Danny Bergevin is in third, sitting 2 tenths back from Nico. So the two championship protagonists looking very close here this evening. Ishmael Fassi and Dylan Warren were not able to set a lap time at the moment in Q2. Tom Manley, Isfan Pookie and Philip Presnado all sit in that drop zone. I'd say a big surprise to see eliminated would be Tom Manley. He's got podiums in WOR in the past, and of course the season 12 Xbox champion. He's just not quite converted it over on the PC side of things. I'd love to see him to get a good result today.
Yeah, I think Tom just needs to pick up a good result. It seems to be a bit low on confidence in recent races, so let's see what Tom really can do, because we all know he's a very, very talented driver and he can be one of the quickest on his day. So, it would be a surprise to see him eliminated. But one name which is doing very well again is Jed Norgrove. He had a really good performance out in Abu Dhabi, and again he's delivering here as well. So Jed's really doing a good job here at COTA. In P9 at the minute, and he will go out again, and he will have obviously time to find, because there's a big gap between P3 and obviously Jed Norgrove in P9. So he's got a bit of time to find, around 2 tenths, if he really wants to challenge for that podium position in qualifying here.
Shout out to every one of the drivers that we have here this evening. 15 drivers have made it into Q2, and it's just a star-studded grid that you can't fit all of the best competitors in the top 10. Someone is going to be cut short, and I'm really not looking forward to seeing who it is. At the minute, though, we have a Texas-sized crowd watching here in WOR. It's 3,609 people currently watching at the minute. Thank you everyone so much for joining this evening. If you haven't already, please make sure to subscribe to the WOR YouTube channel. We recently passed 15,000 subscribers, and of course a like on the stream would be greatly appreciated. Q2 is coming to an end. At the minute, the cut-off time is a 1 minute 31.422. Everyone in the live chat, I'm going to pose a question to you. What do you think that cut-off time is going to be? And Ryan, got to pose the same thing to you.
That's a tough question because look how close this top 10 is. It is mighty close. So I think we're going to have to go for a low 0.3, just around where Alvaro Carreton is. I think that will just be about safe for a lot of these drivers, just about to get through. So we'll have to wait and see, but it's no surprise that the likes of Lucas Blakely, Jake Benham have all decided to come out because obviously don't feel comfortable. But what I am surprised about is Jarno Opmeer. He has decided to follow everybody else out, because if Nicholas didn't come out, I thought Jarno would follow suit, but obviously he doesn't feel comfortable with that lap time.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very interesting call for Jarno Opmeer to come out on circuit, especially if this is a fresh set of the soft compound of tyre. Of course, he saved one from only doing one lap in Q1, so he's using it now, but this might also be a scrub set of tyres, just getting a feel for the track. He's come out very late, and I'm wondering if he's actually going to even start a lap here, but we'll see what happens. The current driver who's out first on circuit is Danny Berejnay. He was the quickest man in Q1 by a decent amount coming into the final runs. Then everyone else caught up to him. But out of everyone who set one lap in Q1, he was the quickest of the lot. P3 at the minute. That is not an incredibly safe time because he's only about 2/10 clear of Tomek Paragas, who sits on the cutoff line, who is just 14 thousandths clear of Tom Manley. There's very fine margins here in qualifying, and I'm wondering with just 1 minute left to go in this qualifying session, as everyone marches their way through the final few corners to get their laps underway, who is going to come out on top and who is unfortunately going to see defeat here in Q2.
We'll have to wait and see, but Danny Berejnay will be the first one to get us going on these final runs, and Danny obviously performing very well in Q1. He'll be looking to replicate that here in this final running in Q2. A really nice line again into turn 1. It's so important to get a good exit, and Danny absolutely nailing that exit. And into turn 3, 4, 5, 6. This is a really vital part of Sector 1. You've really got to nail it, and it's a perfect line again there from Danny, chucking the car in. And that was a perfect line, making sure not to invalidate here on the exit of turn 9. We saw a lot of drivers, Ismail Fassi being one, and Tomek Paragas, I believe, being another, being validated on the exit there. Approaching turn 11 now, take that nice wide line before drifting the car in and getting on the power once, and nice and early once again. So it's really tidy first sector from Danny Berejnay, and this is looking like a really nice lap here from Danny.
Yeah, we've only got just 3 seconds left to go in this session. Everyone on circuit has begun their lap. Jarno Opmeer will be the final man to come across the line. Here's Danny Berejnay then coming to the final sector, improving by almost 0.3 of a second. We are edging nearer to that 1 minute 30 time. Is Danny Berejnay going to be the first man to cross that threshold? We'll see if he finds an improvement in the final sector now. Is now in towards turn number 16, 17 and 18. This fast set of right-handers. Then you've got to run it out wide in towards turn number 90. Be careful not to invalidate off the exit through here. That was a very tidy run for Danny Berejnay through there now. Off the exit of the final corner, open up the DRS and come towards the line. It is indeed the first 1 minute 30 of the session and should surely see him in towards Q3. Danny Berejnay, what a return to WOR. An incredible lap time coming out from him there. Let's have a look then at Tomek Paragas in P11 and in that drop zone. He's currently coming into the pit lane and he's out of qualifying. Very unfortunate to see him eliminated from this session. Ismail Fassi in that drop zone as well. Coming through the final corner, Lucas Blakely manages to put himself into P5. Here then Ismail Fassi in the drop zone. Will he get himself to safety? Indeed he will, and eliminates Philip Presnader in the process. Jed Norgrove unfortunately invalid on his lap time and will be out of this session. Alvaro Carreton, a name I'm very surprised to see down here. Will he eliminate Istvan Buki from this session off the exit of the final corner? Indeed he will. Istvan Buki will be out of this session. Dylan Warren comes to the line, and it's not enough to get himself out of the drop zone. Tom Manley lives to fight another day here in qualifying. Istvan Buki is the man that just about misses out, and that is a big loss for him there. That brings us to the end of Q2, and it is Danny Berezny on top once again. An incredible lap time from him there.
Yeah, it was a mighty, mighty lap, over a tenth clear of Nicolas Longuet, and it was no surprise that the Frenchman didn't come out because he was comfortably through. But what a mighty lap that is from the Haas driver. Again, I was commentating over that. It looked flawless. That first sector, I think, was the key standout area off that lap, in my opinion, because it was absolutely flawless.
Yeah, I mean, it is incredibly close in this session throughout the entire field, but then Danny Berezny just bombs out a time like that. It was an incredible lap from him there. Nicolas Longuet, with his one run, sees himself in P2. Jake Benham and Jarno Opmeer do a great job in third and fourth. You can see everyone else rounding out the top 10, but Istvan Pukki, Philip Presnader, Jed Norgrove, Tomek Paragic, and Dylan Warren all eliminated from qualifying here. That'll bring us to the end of Q2. Now Q3 is on the way. I'm very excited to get this one underway. I mean, Danny Berezny, he looks to be the man to beat coming into this session. I'm not going to lie to you, Ryan. I didn't expect him.
No, definitely not, because obviously we haven't seen what Danny Berezny's been able to do here in WOR. So this is his first appearance, and what a first appearance it is here in WOR for this season, obviously. And he's looking mighty, mighty quick. But a surprise to me was seeing Istvan Pukki get eliminated there. You know, he was fighting for the win last week, so it's a real surprise. Istvan Pukki getting eliminated there in Q2 because, you know, he was fighting for pole position last week, and now here at Kota, he's out in Q2.
Yeah, we'll see what happens in Q3. We've got 10 drivers left in this session. I'll bring us back over to the game scene after a quick word from our sponsors at Virage.gg. Don't go anywhere, anyone. Welcome back trackside, everyone, here in the final parts of qualifying, where we've yet to see anyone come out on the circuit with almost 10 minutes left to go. It's a ghost town out on this circuit, and we're just waiting to see who's the first man to venture out on track. But I'm seeing some activity down at the AlphaTauri garage. That is Ishmael Fassi or Tom Manley coming out first, and I believe it is Ishmael.
Yeah, it's a good performance there in Q2 from Ismail. He obviously had that shaky start and validating on his first run, but crucially I believe he got the delta, so it gave him a bit of confidence knowing where he needed to improve on those final runs. So it was a good performance there from Q2, and he'll have a bit of confidence now in Q3 that he can probably deliver a better lap. And we've got a few more drivers now finally joining him out on track. Obviously the pole sitter in Q2, Danny Berezny, he'll be wanting to make sure he's pole on this final run here in Q3 because he is looking mighty, mighty quick at this moment in time. Yeah,
I would really love to see Danny Berezny starting on the front row. I mean, I said it, that at one point he was Mr. 100%. He's got 2 wins here in WOR despite doing only a handful of races. He's got a fantastic win percentage, I think of about maybe 50%. Here in PC Tier 1. So Danny Berezny is a man to be reckoned with. Of course, he's one of the esports greats, I think, of all time. I mean, he's been a part of the F1 Esports scene for what feels like ages. I think 2018 might have been his first season. Of course, in 2020, he was right up there with Jarno Opmeer, his teammate for that season. So he's a man that you definitely fear on the F1 Esports circuit. And I think tonight a lot of drivers are going to be paying attention to Danny Berezny.
Yeah, about fear, I think his brakes fear Danny as well, how hard he presses those pedals down sometimes. But yeah, Danny's looking really, really confident around here, and, you know, hopefully his brakes can survive, because somehow I'm surprised that we haven't seen Danny Berezny update about his pedals being broken compared to Jarno. So we'll have to wait and see how this all unfolds. But Danny's looking really, really comfortable, really, really confident. And, you know, you can put him on as a favourite, really, to stick pole position on around here because, again, he's looking really, really sharp. But, again, Ismail Fassi will be the first driver to get us underway here in Q3, setting the first run.
Yeah, put Danny Berejney on a football field, stick him at centre back. I mean, no one's getting through with the way he slides his pedals. I mean, it is absolutely diabolical what he does. If you haven't seen it, I think there's a clip floating around YouTube of Danny Berejney braking and then like some explosion happening, edited in. It's incredibly funny to watch. But yeah, Danny Berejney, what a driver. He is not the first man out on circuit though. It is indeed Ismail Fassi coming in towards the first sector where you really want to go maximum commitment through here. For some reason, I can't go on board with Ismail as he hits his way in towards turn number 4, 5 and 6. You got to slow it down from this point of the circuit. The fear really is gone at this point, and now in towards turn number 8 and 9. Very easy to run over the curbs through here, then invalidate your lap time. No such issue then for Ismail's. It's a downhill run in towards turn number 11 where you want to use all the track on entry, clip the curb on the inside, then open up the corner, get the foot down as early as possible. Once again now heading down in towards turn number 12. We'll see what Ismail Fassi can do as I'll bring up the telemetry to see his top speed. We're yet to see anyone get over 200 miles per hour, and unfortunately we're going to have to wait a little bit longer. Ismail Fassi then in towards the final sector. What is his time at the minute? It's a 1 minute 1.564. Not the most competitive time from Ismail there.
No, but again, it's just obviously setting that first lap time on the board, just to know where you've got to improve. I think this could be a used set of soft tyres here for the Spanish driver. Through this triple right-hander, once again, you just want to make sure you use that, stay as tight to those curves as possible. And that was a really nice line, but he's gone a bit over there, and that's a real shame. Got a bit of oversteer on the exit, and he tried to catch it, but obviously just went a little bit too far over, and that obviously was a used set of tyres, being a 131.4.
Yeah, we talked about that earlier on as Danny Berejney comes to the line with a 1 minute 31.001. He got that time in Q2, not quite at the beginning of Q3. We'll see who else is coming towards the final few corners. Tom Manley struggling in recent weeks and unfortunately struggling a little bit in Q3. We'll see what he can do as he comes through the final corner. Now off the exit, will he go ahead of Otis Lawrence? No, he won't, unfortunately. It's a 1 minute 31.517. That's definitely not going to be competitive enough for pole position. Here's Nicholas Longate to the line with his first 1 minute 30 of the session, a 1 minute 30.984 from him. Great lap from Nico. That's first blow, I'd say, for Nicholas Longate this evening. Here's Lucas Blakely coming towards the line in his McLaren. He'll go to the top of the order with the first 1 minute 30.883 of the session. A great lap time from Lucas, who's missed a few races. Alvaro Carreton to the line now, ahead of Lucas Blakely there. I mean, these times are coming thick and fast at the minute. The top three all separated by just over a tenth. We'll see Jarno Opme, the last man to set us on a lap time, come through the final corner. He's looking incredibly quick in the second sector. Off the exit of the final corner now. What is the Flying Dutchman going to do? He gets in the 1 minute 30s. He gets ahead of his championship rival. It's a 1 minute 30.943. That'll put him P3 at the minute.
Yeah, there were some ridiculously quick laps there, and I was surprised because Jarno was purple through the first sector, and then unfortunately the lap just got away from him through the middle sector split, so it's a shame for him. But you know, it's obviously the first runs, and these drivers, I think you can tell, I believe from 5th upwards really, and Jake maybe included, they're all on new set of tyres, obviously saving an extra set, so they're just getting them used up now, and it's a really promising lap time from Alvaro Carreton, which is really out of nowhere.
Yeah, Alvaro Carreton, season 13 pole winner here in the Circuit of Americas. He's very quick around this circuit, but in season 15 he really has struggled to keep up with everyone else. He got P4 last time out in Abu Dhabi. It was a great race for the Spaniard, but only one podium to his name so far this season. He's going to look to correct that here in USA. Maybe he can come away with a win as we're coming towards the end of this qualifying session. You can see the current provisional pole time at the minute, and I want to know everyone's thoughts coming in towards the final few minutes of this session. What do you think the pole time is going to be as everyone comes back into the pit lane? We'll read out some of your answers in the live chat. Ryan, what are you going with?
Tough to call, but I think we could see a 1 minute 30.7, maybe even a high 0.6. If somebody absolutely nails the lap, a high 0.6 might just be about possible, but I think realistically we could see a 0.7 from anyone in this top 5, and maybe even Jake included, so we'll have to wait and see. But I feel Lucas Blakely, I think he's going to cause an upset here, and he might be able to just snatch pole position away from the likes of Jarno Opme and Nicholas Longate.
Well, currently there's a poll going on in the live chat as to who you think will be taking pole position in this session. Jarno Opmeer leading the way with 64% of the votes, incredibly dominant at the minute. As I'll try and read out some of your replies now. We've got MixDX saying a 30.693, Tayun saying a 30.7, same for Giso12. Danish Ali says a 1 minute 30.6. Eric is going with a 1 minute 30.599, a 1 minute 30.5. That is a very ambitious call for pole, but it could be possible. I mean, you'd need a near perfect lap time in these modern day Formula 1 cars to set a time like that. But if anyone can do it, maybe it's this man, Danny Berejnay. He's been quickest in Q1 and in Q2 in this session. I wonder if he's anyone's shout for pole here.
Yeah, you'd think maybe somebody would put him down, but obviously we've got a lot of Jarno Opmeer fans in the chat, as per usual, and they're going to back their main man to steal pole position away. And obviously he's got a lot of confidence around here as well, and that was a really nice lap to put himself in provisional P3 at this moment in time. But I think if there's one man that can find that improvement, it is Danny Berejnay to top Q1 and Q2 in some fashion, like he has done in both sessions. It shows he's still got more time to find on that 1 minute 31.0. So let's wait and see how this all unfolds. But I've got a lot of backing here for Danny to maybe just steal a pole position away from everybody else.
What a story top 5 we have at the minute. Alvaro Carreton, Lucas Blakely, Jarno Opmeer, Nicolas Longuet and Danny Berejnay. Those are 5 of the F1 Esports greats here. You could argue any of these guys to be in the top 3 of all time. I mean, these guys are so incredibly competitive for so long in their esports career, and you've got the youngsters all in behind, like Jake. Actually, it's pretty much a complete split of the current generation and the future of F1 esports. Jake Benham, Otis Lawrence, Luke Smith, Tom Manley, Ishmael Fassi are all the young guns trying to break into that stone wall that is the top 5. We'll see what we can do in this session. Danny Berejnay going to get his final run here in qualifying underway. Everyone else miles behind him on circuit. He's got all the clear air in the world to work with. So we're right on board with him through turn number 1. Kiss that inside, run it out wide, and then keep it pinned to the right hand side. Keep it very tight knit through here. Then you want to go in towards this first sector with no fear whatsoever. Flat out through turns number 3, 4 and 5. Slow it down through turn number 6 and 7 at the end of the first sector, improving by just 1,000th of a second. That will put him on a 1 minute 30, 1 minute 31.000. We'll see if he's able to replicate that in the next few sectors. Now in towards this downhill run towards turn number 11. Danny Berejnay, what can he do off the exit of turn number 11? We'll bring up the telemetry once again. We're yet to see anyone go above that 200 mile per hour threshold here along this back straight in towards the speed trap. Will it happen for Danny Berejnay coming up towards the braking zone? It's 199 for him, and it's just not given at the moment. But we'll see what his time is in the second sector, and he's up by 1/10 of a second now.
Yeah, he's going to still need to find a bit more time if he wants to steal pole position away from Alvaro Carreton, who I do believe is also improving on his lap. He's in the first sector at this moment in time, while Danny is in the final sector now, coming up to, again, turn 19. This is a vital corner on this lap. He's really got to chuck the car in. He misses that apex ever so slightly, and he's run out wide! That's going to be so dearly costly for Danny Berejnay. Let's just see what he does coming up to the line now. It's a 1 minute 30.9, so it wouldn't have been enough for pole position.
No, it would have kept him in that P5 position. He would have been just 2,000th off of Nicolas Longuet, the current time trial world record holder, improving ever so slightly in this first and second sector. It's not going to be enough unless he finds masses of time in sector 3 through turn number 19 and 20. He sees no such issues that Danny Berejnay faces. Now off the exit of the final corner, what is it going to be for Nicolas Longuet towards the line? It's P3 for the time being. He jumps ahead of Jarno Opmeer. Lucas Blakely is up next towards the line. He's improving by 300ths of a second. Will he go ahead of Alvaro Carreton? There it is, a 1 minute 30.754 from him. Great lap time from Lucas Blakely, and to rub salt into the wounds for Alvaro Carreton, he's invalid on his attempt. Let's have a look at Jarno Opmeer, championship leader, coming through turn number 18 now, in towards 19. His teammate Jake Benham just ahead of him. Ishmael Fassi, what a lap time from him, gets himself onto the front row of the grid. Jake Benham is going to displace him though. Here's Jarno Opmeer off the exit of the final corner. The Flying Dutchman can't quite nab that pole position away from Lucas Blakely. He'll slot himself into P2 and Jake Benham in third, but Lucas Blakely, what a lap time from him. He'll be on pole position on a mid-0.7. If you said that in the live chat, really well done to you. You can see how close this session is. The top 4 separated by less than 1/10.
Yeah, I was very happy to put Lucas down as my prediction, and it did come true. So it's a nice little bonus for me there. But what a lap it was from Lucas, and there was not much more time to find in that lap. But again, Jarno just coming agonisingly close. But what a performance that is from the Mercedes team that really came out of nowhere. Jake Benham up into P3. Ismail Fassi. What a performance that is to get P4 out of nowhere as well. So Spain 4 and 5. So that was a really nice qualifying there from the AlphaTauri driver.
Yeah, but it is Lucas Blakely starting on pole position, just a quarter of a tenth clear of Jarno Opmeer. These two, of course, esports greats. They're the two previous F1 Esports champion. I'll bring you back over to the intermission scene so we can talk about that session. Incredibly close margins. I think we are getting a restart, which is good because that means we can sort of digest this qualifying session. Gotta say though, Nicolas Longuet gonna be disappointed with that result. P6 at the minute. He's 1.5 tenths off of pole position. It's very close though, but I'd say he's not gonna be happy with that.
No, I think he'd be very, very disappointed, knowing that he has better pace than what he was able to deliver. You know, we saw last week it was a flawless qualifying session at Abu Dhabi. Every single lap he did, he just nailed it. And unfortunately, this time around, he just wasn't able to deliver in this Q3 session. So that's a shame for him. But you know, we saw his race pace last week, and I'm sure again he's got something in his locker where he'll be able to, you know, perform a really good lap. But yeah, we'll have a session restart now. Everybody's going to be leaving the lobby to make sure that everybody's in the right grid slot.
Yeah, and of course, I think now is a good time to talk to everyone in the live chat. 59% of people said that Jarno Opmeer was going to take pole. I should have looked at the poll actually when it finished because the votes have changed quite a bit. For Lucas Blakely taking pole, he's jumped up to 28% when Jarno Opmeer had about 64 earlier on. Now Jarno's dropped to 59, so I think some people have been a little bit naughty there. But now that everyone knows the qualifying order, it's Lucas Blakely on pole, Jarno Opmeer second, Jake Benham in third, then Ismail Fassi in fourth, fifth is Caraton. Who are your podium predictions? We'll read out some of the names that you say in the live chat. I mean, there's so many good options to say to get a podium.
Yeah, you just can't call it on a grid as talented as this one. I think anybody could really just come out of nowhere. You know, we can't call anyone out because, you know, we saw Jarno Opmeer from P14, he managed to get P3, so why can't anybody else replicate that same kind of performance? You know, it's very difficult to obviously make your way through the field. We've got Thomas Ronha, remember, starting from last, so he'll be one to watch. We've got Duncan Hoffland as well. He was unable to improve due to an incident in qualifying, so again, that's another name. You just got to go, maybe they can really cause a bit of an upset here, maybe score some big points. Obviously, we'll keep a close eye on the championship leader, Jarno Opmeer, who can wrap up the title here tonight. Obviously, he'll need a big miracle in a way. He has to win the race and Nicholas to finish P8 or lower. So it'll take some doing for him to win the championship here tonight.
It keeps it nice and simple for us here, you know, about the permutations. It's really only one. Jarno has to win. Nicolas Longuet, to stay alive in the championship, has to finish higher than 8th. And with the form that he's been in, winning last time out in Abu Dhabi, that was his 3rd win of the season and his 5th podium of season 15. He's been in some incredible form coming into this round, and I really do doubt that Jarno Opmeer is going to be able to take the championship this evening, just due to the fact that Nicolas Longuet really is so competitive. He's got the time trial world record. If everything went right for him on his lap, I'm sure he'd be on pole position, fighting it out with Lucas Blakely and Jarno Opmeer. I think it just got away from him. We'll see what happens then coming into this race. I'll see if I can read out some of your podium predictions. We've got Parth Chowdhury saying Lucas, Jarno and Nicholas on the podium. As I'll try and scroll up, we've got Rody Scholman saying Jarno, Lucas and Caraton. Paletti says Jarno, Lucas, Nico. And then, so a lot of calls for Jarno Opmeer to take the win. Some Lucas Blakely calls sprinkled in there. Not too much faith in Nicolas Longuet to take the victory, but certainly on the podium. We'll see how it works out. I'm just really interested to see, though, where Thomas Ronha ends up. Starting from P20, I mean, we saw in PSGL earlier on in Saudi Arabia, he, what was it, like 16th to 1st in the span of just a few laps or something. It was incredible pace from him. We'll see if that is going to be the case here tonight.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see how it all really unfolds. And yeah, there's a few predictions for Ronhard to somehow win this race, and that'll be a really surprising result, in my opinion, if Thomas is able to do it. So we'll have to wait and see. But again, it wouldn't surprise me at the same time because, Thomas is a ridiculously quick driver and he's seeming to me now he's started to get up to pace. We did mention that it does take some drivers a bit longer to really just for it to click. And this time around, it's taken Thomas a lot longer compared to other drivers. And, maybe he's found someone with the setup. Which just suits his driving style a bit better because some of these drivers do drive the game a little bit different, and that's why you can see, some drivers perform better at other tracks than others because again, the driving style does suit them a bit better. But yeah, see how it's all unfolds. I wouldn't be surprised though if Thomas does somehow end up on the podium.
I'm seeing from Dubai and Sahar asking us to do a spicy prediction for the race. I'll go first here. I don't know how spicy it is, but let's go P9. From P9, Otis Lawrence is gonna take a podium position tonight. Why not? He showed incredible pace last time out in Abu Dhabi. He was so close to taking victory. I think around a circuit like Kota, where you can make some really good overtakes, I think he can do it. Ryan, from you, what about you?
A spicy prediction. I think there will be an incident involving one of the championship contenders. I feel maybe Nicholas or Jarno will somehow, maybe when they're making an overtake, there might be some kind of incident involving one of them because they'll be desperate, they'll be wanting to get past or something like that. Maybe there'll be a situation where there's a lap car who is yet to pit maybe, and Jarno has to keep in the train, makes a move, maybe gets some damage. I feel like we could see some kind of drama, something along the lines of that.
I'm really keeping my fingers crossed that something like that doesn't happen. That we can have a great fight between both Nicholas and Jarno. It ends respectfully. The championship can roll on into the next week or something, whatever. But yeah, fingers crossed neither of them are involved in an incident. I'm seeing a comment from It's Crush saying Alvaro driver of the day. He's going to be an underdog in P2 or 3. Comments on the prediction. I like that one. I like Alvaro Carreton potentially getting a podium. He's starting P5. I wouldn't say he's an underdog, but I'd really like to see him on the podium here. Of course, he was on pole position in season 13, I believe it was. He's finished on the podium here last season, season 14. Alvaro finished, I believe, in P2. So, yeah, I'd really like to see Alvaro do well this evening.
Yeah, it wouldn't put it past him either to pick up a really good result. I think Jake Benham will be another one to watch. I feel, I remember Bahrain. If you can cash him on back where he made that daring move into the double left-hander and he made contact with Shanaka Clay. I can just imagine him making a move into turn 15. A same kind of incident possibly happening. I don't know why. Just picturing Jake going for an audacious move and something unfortunately happening to the Mercedes man. But I've got confidence for Jake here tonight because he's looking very, very sharp around this circuit. He's looking comfortable, looking confident. So let's see how this all unfolds. But I'm sure Jake could maybe, cause an upset, might even, could be in contention for a good win here.
Yeah, I'd love to see Jake Benham do well. I mean, I think he's also one of the only drivers to have won a race every single season that he's competed here in WOR, and he's been a part of this scene for a long time now. I mean, he was the season 11 champion. That was the inaugural PC season. Jake Benham ended up winning the championship. It got pretty close towards the end with Jarno Opmeer coming in for like the last 6 or 7 rounds and then winning most of them. But Jake Benham was able to secure that championship. He's been a bit too far away from the championship fight as of recent, but I'd really like to see Jake Benham do well. I'm seeing a lot of people getting talking about when the race is going to start. We've got all 20 drivers in the lobby at the minute. We are just waiting for the countdown to start. Luke Smith is setting up the grid. Oh no, it's Isvan Pookie hosting this lobby. So Isvan is going to be sorting out the grid. Everyone's getting into their car. Everyone's in their car at the minute, and we should get going very soon. Really excited to see how this race turns out. And I'm seeing one thing in the lobby, Ryan. We've got sunshine here in Texas.
Yeah, I was looking in the Tier 1 Discord, and it was saying Thomas told us there was full clear skies, and everybody else confirmed it. So it wasn't just Thomas hoping to make sure he gets a dry track for himself, but again, it will be a completely dry race around here. So that'll be a good thing to keep in mind. So there'll be absolutely zero chance of rain around here. But I think another driver who we could see have a good performance, who had a bit of a shock elimination, would be Fabrizio Donoso. Again, he had a very good performance at Abu Dhabi last week, and unfortunately just did not go his way here at COTA. So let's see how it all unfolds for him, and he'll be definitely one to keep a close eye on in the Aston Martin.
Yeah, starting all the way down in P17, I think, for the start of this race. It was not a good qualifying for Fabrizio Donoso at all. Sorry, P18 to start this Grand Prix. And I think he's sort of seen a bit of a new lease of life on this F1 23 game. Coming towards the end of F1 2021 and the beginning of 22, I think he kind of did fall off ever so slightly. That is no knock against him. He's still an incredible driver, and he probably lapped me over the course of a 5-lapper. But he really has revitalised, I think, his esports hope here in F1 23. And I always talk about it, the longevity of the man is incredible to watch. He has been a part of the F1 esports scene since its very first season. He finished P2 behind Brendan Lee in that incredible championship finale that was in Abu Dhabi. I mean, what an event that was to watch, and it really did give hope for everyone who is watching at the minute and who is in the lobby to chase their esports dreams. And Fabrizio Donoso really is a pioneer here in F1 esports, and I really hope he has a good race this evening. I see him in the lobby. He's actually flashing his status. Maybe he's listening in. Maybe he's getting a bit impatient. I think, Ryan, we're finally getting ready to go here because the countdown has started in the lobby.
Yeah, it's taken a while. Thank you, everybody, for your patience. And yes, we certainly are loading up. Everybody's just getting ready. Finally going to press the OK button to get us going. It's been a long old wait. There will be no formation lap. So once we have loaded in, once everybody's got their setup on the car, we will be going in straight away. So make sure you're all ready, because once we've loaded in, things will get going straight away.
Everyone's shouting at us in the chat, asking for the race to start. We've been waiting, okay? And I can't check the Discord because I've got the cameras on my screen, so I do apologise for the race but not starting. But you know what? You're all still here, and you're finally going to get treated, because we are loading into the lobby now, and the countdown has begun. Actually, we don't get a countdown anymore on the F1 23 game. I don't know why they haven't fixed that, but I'll bring us back over to the game scene. And now I'm being told it's my fault for not starting the race here. So yeah, I'm not too sure what's gone on here.
Yeah, I think everybody's just having a bit of a meltdown. They're just so impatient that they want the race to get going. It's just the excitement that WOR brings to everyone's screens, that they just want it to get going and they want to see how this race all unfolds. I can't really blame them. But again, it's not Dan's fault. It's not my fault. For some reason, there's always that 5-place grid penalty system, which is really, really costly for us and all the viewers at home. But hopefully now, once everybody gets their setup on the car, we will be going in the matter of seconds. Hopefully not too long, but you never know with these drivers. They do like to take their time. Yeah,
we'll wait on the start of the race as we are getting ready. I'm still being told it's my fault for the race not starting. Okay.
Got a 5-second penalty as well.
I've got a 5-second time penalty. Brilliant. I'll do my whole commentary as a slight delay. But you know what? We're gonna get going soon, okay? And now I've got to I can't stop looking at the chat right now. Now we've got to get this race ready to get underway. 28 laps here around this beautiful circuit of the Americas track in Austin, Texas, opening first in 2012. It's been home of the United States Grand Prix ever since, and it's been an incredible circuit. It really did bring F1 back into the Americas, and now WOR is hosting the first of its triple American header. Here we are then, getting ready for the start of this race. 5 red lights. It is Lucas Blakely on pole, Jan Ortmeier in P2, and we are underway, and it looks to be a great start from Jan Ortmeier heading in towards turn number 1. Lucas Blakely going to look to cover him off on the inside at turn number 1. Jan Ortmeier has to go the long way round. There's Ismail Fassi around the outside on a set of these soft compound tyres, I believe, on Jan Ortmeier. There's a Haas going off the circuit. That's Danny Beresnay losing a few places. Ismail Fassi on the soft compound tyres. He's come out the block flying as now they're weaving their way through the first sector. It's all clean here. Lucas Blakely leading from Ismail Fassi in P2. Jan Ortmeier dropping down to 3rd.
Yeah, Tom Manley's had an absolutely unbelievable start. He's up 3 positions. Danny Beresnay just napping a little bit there, but Esteban Pukki as well. He's not been able to make up any ground so far. He's going to make a move now down the inside into turn 11 on his Haas teammate. That's an easy move there for Esteban Pukki. No real fight. has been put up there from Danny. That's a nice move there from Istvan Pukki. It's a bit of a battle now again. Ismail Fassi going for the lead of this race now, down the inside of Lucas Blakely, who again is not really putting up much of a fight at this moment in time. He knows it's sensible just to let Ismail Fassi through.
Yeah, Ismail Fassi is going to be incredibly quick on this set. The soft compound tires, there's 3 wide action. Further back behind, Alvaro Carreton has lost a number of places at the start of this Grand Prix. There's a spinner behind. That's Duncan Hoffland around. Jed Norgrove involved in an incident as well. The first yellow flag of this session has come out. Jake Benham and Luke Smith are fighting it out. Look at that. Luke Smith around the outside of turn number 16, 17 and 18 on the medium tyres. Can he make the move stick? Indeed he can. Jake Benham really with no fight on that set of the hards. And now it's Van Pukki. Look at him all the way up into P6, starting 11th in this Grand Prix. He's on the verge of a top 5 on this set of the sauce. Brilliant stuff from him there.
Yep, Thomas Ronhart into the pits. He has got front wing damage for the Dutchman. That is absolutely huge, and that is the risk and the reward sometimes that you take being at the back of the grid. And he got caught up in that incident when there was 3 wide into turn 12. I did mention there would be some kind of drama in that corner, and I was right once again. It was Duncan Hoffland getting caught up with Tomic Precious and Jed Norgrove, and Ronhart was really just a sitting duck, and he could not do anything to avoid it, and that is him now down into P18, and he'll be very, very frustrated with that start.
Balls of steel from Philip Presnader going for the move in the S's section on Otis Lawrence, who's dropped from 9th down into now 12th position because there's Dylan Warren on a set of the softs. I think Alvaro Carreton is going to take a piece of the pie up the inside, heading in towards turn number 11. Oh, bit of contact there from Fabrizio Donoso in behind. There's a brilliant battle shaping up at the minute. We're going to flick on over to the front though, because there is Luke Smith trying to go up the inside of Jarno Opmeer, heading in towards turn number 12. Jarno really with no fight there, being on the hards against the mediums. Luke Smith now into the podium positions. Have a look back down at these soft runners in 12th and 13th. Alvaro Carreton and Fabrizio Donoso fighting it out into sector 3. Who's going to come out on top? I think it might be Carreton around the outside. Indeed he will. Otis Lawrence down to 14th.
Yeah, Fabrizio nearly made 2 places on that straight. He was using the overtake very, very aggressively, and he managed to get past Otis, and then he nearly got past Alvaro Carreton. He tried to go around the outside into turn 12. Fortunately, just didn't have the grip really to utilise it, because obviously Alvaro is on the same set of tyres, so there's quite an interesting battle between those two, and he just lost the rear end ever so slightly, and that cost him on the exit for Alvaro just to stick in front in P12.
Yep, so now DRS has been enabled on lap number 3. Ismail Fassi off like a shot. He's cleared Lucas Blakely by almost 2 seconds here. Lucas is not going to get any DRS on the back of the Alpha Tauri. That's going to allow for Luke Smith and maybe Jarno Opmeer even to go for a move. Lucas Blakely and Jarno Opmeer, they're in direct competition on this one. Of course, they're both on the hard compound of tyre. Jake Benham and Nicholas Longe in behind as well. They're on the hards as well, so these are the guys they need to pay attention to here. Ismail Fassi, Luke Smith, Istvan Pukki, despite them making up a number of places off the start of this race, they are going to have to come into the pits a lot earlier, and then they're going to be on the weaker tyres later on in the Grand Prix, as now Dylan Warren up the inside at turn number 11 on Philip Presnader. He's going to make that move stick up the inside. Very easy there. Philip, though, he's going to maybe try and look to fight this one back, heading in towards turn number 12. Have a look at the front there. There's Luke Smith up the inside of Lucas Blakely in towards turn number 12. Easy as you like. Lucas Blakely really with no defence there, and I think Luke Smith will pull away from him now.
Yeah, I've been really impressed by the hard runners and the decision making here so far. None of them are really defending from these softer compounded tyres, and they're just saving the battery. This is really, really smart stuff. And then we've got Danny Berezny now making a move down the inside of Tom Manley here. They're going to go side by side through this triple right-hander. Tom Manley getting caught up on that inside curve. Thought they're going to be in contact, but what a fantastic move that is from Danny Berezny to hold it around the outside, and he gets in front just before turn 19. A sensational move from Danny Berezny. Slight
bit of understeer there from Tom Manley, and then they would have been both off careering in towards the gravel. So that was great car control, great racecraft from the pair of them, and Danny Berezny is going to become up the beneficiary from that short little battle there. Dylan Warren in behind on the soft. Still, these are going to be in great condition around this circuit. Only 3 laps old at this point. We're only on lap number 4. This race has gone by a little bit slowly for the start of it, but I think once we see some more battling, we're going to see some great action, as now Alvaro Carreton is all over the rear of Philip Presnader. Philip on the mediums, Alvaro on the softs, who's lost a number of places at the beginning of this Grand Prix. He started in P5, he's now down 12 places in, now drop down 7 places, down into 12th. He's going to make the move up the inside on Philip Presnader. Will he make the move stick? Just a lap ago, Dylan Warren was up the inside of Philip, and now he can't catch a break because there is Alvaro off the exit of the corner. Easy as you like. He's going to make that move stick down the straight.
Yeah, so that, again, aggressive moves being done, all fair. And Fabrizio Donoso goes down the inside as well at Philip Presnader. Sorry, to the outside, sorry. And Philip defended to the inside and just keeps Fabrizio at bay. But that was really aggressive defending once again from Philip Presnader. Managed to hold in this soft runner back as long as possible. He's got good battery though, compared to Donoso, who has picked up a 3-second time penalty. I do wonder if it was just a quick 3 second or he has got multiple warnings, which has led to that 3-second penalty. And I think he did pick up that final warning on the exit of turn 19. Such an easy place for these drivers to pick up that final warning. Andrea Tarabukin also getting a penalty, and he's going into the pits, which most likely will lead to either the retirement or he's going to be, there we go, retiring the car. Unfortunate for him, but again, this race has really everybody starting to get into that rhythm now, getting into that flow. I do wonder how long these soft tyres will last at this point in the race, because it won't be too long before these soft tyres do start to drop off, and they will drop off very, very quickly.
Andrew Tarabukin then the first retirement of the day. It's good to see Duncan Offland, Thomas Ronhard, Jed Norgrove and Tomek Parajas, who all have to pit at the end of lap number 1. It's good to see them still fighting it out here. Now as Nicholas Longue, what's happened to him? I think there might be a little bit of lag there, because he's all of a sudden, on my screen at least, blipped down into 14th position. I'm not too sure what's happened there with the Frenchman. He was... Ryan, is that the same on your screen? He was running in, what, like P6 or 7 at some point, and now he's all the way down in 14th. What's happened there?
Yeah, I think it must have just been lag, because you would have seen him tumble down the order really, really quickly on our left-hand side. So it must be lag for Nicholas. And yeah, that's a real shame. His game froze. That's what's been explained to us. Somebody must have been watching the stream, so he's got a massive screen freeze, and that has cost him dearly. And now he's got a big task ahead of him, because, you know, at the minute Jarno Ottmar is in P4, but it's not looking too good for Nicholas, because he needs to make sure he's sticking within the points to keep this title fight going as long as possible.
And of course, if Jarno Ottmar wins this race and Nicholas Longue is outside the top 8, the championship will go the way of the Dutchman. These two are fighting to be the first repeat champion in WOR. Of course, Nicholas Longue winning it back in Season 12. Jarno Ottmar, the Season 13 champion here in Season 15, who's going to be the first to 2. And it looks like at this point, Jarno Ottmar has got it in the bag. He's just got to win this race. And later on in the Grand Prix, when Ishmael Fassi and Luke Smith tyres have fallen off the cliff, Lucas Blakely and Jarno Ottmar, they will be fighting it out for the win of this race. So it is a real possibility that the championship goes the way of the Dutchman today, but it's still only lap number 6 of 28. It's a very long Grand Prix here. Anything can and anything will happen here at this point, as now in towards lap number 6 they go. We're watching Jake Benham, who is catching Istvan Pukki. Istvan almost dropping out that 1 second window that he needs to get the DRS on Jarno Ottmar up ahead of him. He's been able to get it this time by, here's Lucas Blakely on the inside of Luke Smith in towards turn number 12. The Scotsman goes late on the break and he's back up into P2. Luke Smith is going to be able to fight that one back off the exit. Doesn't look like it here, so Lucas Blakely puts a car in between himself and Ottmar, and he's back into P2.
Yeah, Nicholas Longue trying to make a move on Otis Lawrence now, and Otis is having to defend. And Nicholas makes a little bit of contact, going sideways there. That's a big mistake on the brakes there for Nicholas Longue. And that he was nearly spun round into turn 13, but he managed to catch the car. But you can show the pace he's got, and Otis has got to get a move on. The soft tyres, quite clearly, have now dropped off significantly, because Ismail Fazi had a comfortable lead, and now it's completely dropped away, down to 6 tenths. I believe it was around 2 seconds to Luke Smith. So that just shows you where the soft tyres are at this point of the race compared to the hards. The hards are the better tyres, in my opinion, at this moment in time.
Jarno's got to go for it on Luke Smith very soon here. He doesn't want to lose touch with Lucas Blakely, because if Lucas gets 2 cars in between himself and Jarno Ottmar, then it's going to allow for the Scotsman to potentially pull away and romp this Grand Prix towards the end of it. So Jarno has got to get by on Luke Smith as soon as possible. Keep in touch with Lucas Blakely, because there's no guarantee that he'll be able to catch up to him later on in the race. The top 4 beginning to break away from the pack is now Fabrizio Donoso. Gets another 3-second time penalty. It's really easy to do around this circuit, but 6 seconds of penalties within 7 laps. It's not a good look for the Chilean in terms of how his race is panning out. Here's Jake Benham then on the back of Istvan Pukki off the exit of turn number 11. Istvan does not have any DRS. Jake Benham going to be easily able to cruise up to the rear of Istvan and go up the inside, heading in towards turn number 12. Very easy move for him there. He'll get himself back up behind his teammate, and hopefully he's now 1.5 seconds off the back of Jan Ortmir. For Jake Benham's sake, I really do hope that he can catch up to this pack.
Yeah, he needs to. This needs to be a perfect final sector for Jake Benham. He's going to have to use a little bit of the battery, in my opinion, and that's a big mistake. That's what Jake couldn't afford to do into turn 15, and he's lost around 2 to 3 attempts there. That's a huge error from Jake Benham, and he's going to lose that DRS, but I think he's banking on Jarno to maybe battle it out with Luke Smith, which will enable him to get back into the DRS that way. So he won't have DRS on this first straight here, but I do believe after the first sector, Jake will be straight back into that DRS because the cars will start to close up once again through this first sector.
Yes, Malfassi is struggling to keep the pace at the front of the order. Jake Benham is beginning to close back up to the rear of his teammate Jan Ortmir, who's following in this train. I think just for Jake Benham's sake, he's going to hope that he'll get the DRS before the detection point off the exit of turn number 10. Of course, in this first sector where the difference in grip is going to be the most paramount, surely Jake Benham is going to be able to get that DRS range, and indeed he will. He's now back within a second of his teammate. He'll be able to open up that rear wing and close up to this train, so the top four not going to be able to escape in this Grand Prix. Ismail Fassi still leading on lap number 8 of 28. Lucas Blakely in P2. Luke Smith, he's doing well in P3. Jan Ortmir then in P4. Let's have a look at the positions gained in this race. Luke Smith up 4 places. Istvan Pukki up 5. Dylan Warren up 6. They are the biggest movers in this Grand Prix. As we'll see what happens then. This race is just continuing on.
Yeah, it's really well driven there from Jake, by the way, because that is no easy task to find that time, especially with Jan Ortmir in front of you. It's a hard challenge sometimes, but Jake's done a really smart job. He was calculated there as well, so it's a really nice job from him. But again, Danny Moreno as well. I'm just keeping a close eye on this battle between P13 with Otis Lawrence, currently leading these hard runners at this moment in time. He's just really waiting, I think, Otis at this moment in time for a little bit of a mistake or a significant drop-off from Fabrizio Donoso before making a move, because again, he's got Philip Prosnado in front of him on the medium tyres, and then he's got another group of soft runners in front of him. So I think Otis has really got to get a move on, and Jan Ortmir has made a move down the inside on Luke Smith. Really nicely done there into turn 1, and that was nicely done there from the Dutchman.
Luke Smith doing all he can to try and fight this one out. I think those medium tyres maybe still have some give left in them. He's all over the back of Jan Ortmir heading in towards the first sector, but now as he closes back up to the rear of Lucas Blakely, it doesn't look like that Luke Smith is going to be able to do that one. As we've got a super chat at the minute. It's 22 TRY. I don't know that currency, unfortunately. Thank you though to Unefficient, who says give me Fanatec. I'm not too sure that 22 or whatever that is going to net you a Fanatec, but that is greatly appreciated. Everyone in the live chat, send him some love, as there is Lucas Blakely going up the inside of Ismail Fassi, heading in towards turn number 12. Will make that move, stick up the inside, and the pole sitter back into the lead of this Grand Prix.
Yeah, it's smart driving, and now he's got a car in between him and Jarno. So again, this is calculated driving, and Otis Lawrence has made the move down the inside. I did say he had to make a move relatively quickly. He has used some of the battery, and they're side by side on the exit of turn 14, coming up into turn 15. This will be an easy move now down the inside, and Fabrizio Donoso is not giving this up without a fight, but Otis just has a superior grip at this point in the race, and he is now in front of his Aston Martin teammate. Oh, it's a spin for Fabrizio Donoso!
Oh dear, Fabrizio Donoso around at turn number, 17? I mean, they say don't mess with Texas, and Fabrizio Donoso, he finds out why. He goes for a spin. Was there contact there with his teammate, Otis Lawrence? I'm not too sure what's gone on. Fabrizio, he doesn't sustain any wing damage, but he's now way off the back of anyone else. He's got Duncan Hoffman breathing down his neck. Really unfortunate there for Fabrizio Donoso, who we were touting for a good race this evening, and his day is just getting from bad to worse here.
Yeah, 6-second penalties, and you're now down into P15. Unfortunately, with the soft tyres being the worst tyre at this point of the race, his race is probably long over, unfortunately for him, so it's a real shame. But again, Lucas is stretching the lead a little bit now. He's got good ERS compared to Ismail as well behind, so this is really promising stuff from the McLaren driver, who, again, is stretching his legs a little bit, and Jan Ortmir's got to be careful as well. He cannot afford for Lucas Blakely to break that 1 second range, because otherwise it could be an easy race for Lucas Blakely from here on out.
Yeah, Ishmael Fassi is doing well to keep with Lucas Blakely, and I think the 2 doses of DRS that you get along the straights around this circuit really does help him to keep to the rear of Lucas. But they've got to start thinking about a pit stop soon. It's lap number 10 of 28. Donoso losing a place now to Duncan Hoffman. His day really is just not going according to plan. He's got to run it back next time out in Miami, where of course Jarno Opmeer lost to the Angry Ginge 13 in his most recent video. He's hoping for some better luck down there. As now, is Ishmael Fassi going to come into the pit lane? He'll stay out front of the lap here. Istvan Pukki, Dylan Warren, Alvaro Carreton, they might want to think about potentially going for an undercut on their rivals up ahead. It doesn't look like it for the time being. But yeah, now heading up on towards lap number 11. We're still not seeing any scheduled pit stops here. Lucas Blakely leading from Ishmael Fassi. Jarno Opmeer sitting pretty down in third. I wonder, is he cooking something up?
Yeah, you never know with Jarno Opmeer. He's always cooking something, and could it be a race victory? We'll have to wait and see. We've got a long way to go in this race, and he's looking very, very comfortable with his ERS situation, 92%. For the Mercedes man, and his Mercedes colleague is also looking very, very comfortable, 84% for Jake Benham. So them 2 Mercedes are looking in a really good position at this moment in time, really settled into this race, and they're pulling. And Jake is pulling away from Istvan Pukki, who's starting to struggle obviously on these soft compounded tyres. I don't think we're too far away from seeing the first pit stops from the soft compounded tyres, and Jarno is going for the move now on Ismail Fassi. He's lost that DRS range as Ismail, and now Jarno goes for the P2, and that's an easy move, and he's closed back in on the Scotsman, who is leading this race, is Lucas Blakely.
Nice work from Jarno Opmeer there, but turning our attention away from the track. Thank you to 6,000 people watching this stream. That is our record viewership here in WOR. It's the most we've ever had. Thank you everyone so much for tuning in. You make this all possible. You are the reason why we are seeing all these 19 drivers fighting it out for glory in WOR. Thank you everyone so much for tuning in. If you haven't already, please do consider subscribing to the WOR YouTube channel and leaving a like on this stream, because I am sure in my mind that we are going to be treated to a banger here. As now Istvan Pukki and Luke Smith coming into the pit lane, Alvaro Carreton as well into the box. We'll see what they can do on their fresh set of the tyres. Interestingly enough though, Ishmael Fassi, he's now out of the DRS range of Jarno Opmeer. He's staying out front of the lap here.
Yeah, I think the overcut is really, really powerful around here. Obviously the undercut will be quicker at the start, but later on in the race, the tyre advantage that you have if you stay out that extra bit longer is so vital around here. You don't really want to be one of the first drivers to pit. You'll gain obviously earlier on, but towards the end of the race, you'll massively feel it, because everybody else around you will have so much more grip. And I think that's the only reason why Ismail Fassi has decided to stay out for another lap, just to make sure that he has better grip compared to his competitors who have yet to pit. And as you can just see, he's made a huge mistake into turn 11, no grip for the Spanish driver, and Jake has made an easy move at this moment in time. Jake's got a big task, nearly a whole second he needs to close if he wants to get DRS from Jarno Opmeer and Lucas Blakely. I wonder if Jarno might go for the lead here and maybe back up Lucas Blakely into Jake Benham and do some teamwork that way.
Nicolas Longuet up the inside of Philip Prejneda. It's a recovery drive for the Frenchman in this Grand Prix after a screen freeze really has just completely ruined his race this evening. He was running inside that top 10, and now unfortunately he is down in 90s. Well, he's in that top 10, but he's a lot lower than he would want to be. Danny Bergenet is all over the back of Ishmael Fassi, who is really struggling with the pace here, and there it is, Danny Bergenet up the inside at turn number 19. He gets a massive slide through the corner there. Finally on lap number 12, Ishmael Fassi is going to come into the pit lane. I think Dylan Warren will be following along soon as, we continue along this race. All of the soft runners now into the box, aside from Fabrizio Donoso. We're just waiting on Philip Prejneda to come to the pit lane. And Ryan, I'm not too sure if we're a few laps away from these hard drivers coming in.
I think around lap 16, 17, I wouldn't be too surprised if we see drivers do come in around then. Maybe even lap 18 could be maybe the latest stop. But I was really surprised to see Luke Smith go into the pit lane as early as he did, because he was the lead and medium runner, and it was quite an interesting strategy for him to come in at the same time as some of the soft runners. So it was an interesting strategy call there from Luke Smith in the Alpine, but he's doing a good job, and he isn't obviously leading this fresh pit stop runners, so he's doing a good job there.
Thank you to Rex Shith for the super chat of 40 of your respective currency. I'm sorry, I need to brush up on my international currency knowledge, but thank you for your very first super chat here in WOR, and I think that might be going towards Unaffected's Fanatec, as now his Vanpookie is up the inside of Duncan Hoffland. Of course, Duncan Hoffland yet to pit on his set of the hard compound of tyres. He's really going to be feeling the drop-off in pace in comparison to these medium runners who have just fitted on this set of the tyre. We'll see how they are able to do it in regards to the likes of Lucas Blakely and Jana Ottmer and Jake Benham, who are still yet to pit. And I'm surely if these guys are pitting on lap number 13 for a set of the mediums, the hard runners, Ryan, they've got to be thinking about the softs.
Yeah, I wouldn't put it past them, but again, you want to be on the best tyres towards the end of the race, and the mediums will be much quicker compared to the softs. So again, it's a judgment call on that basis. But look at Jake Benham's pace, by the way. He is doing a really good job at trying to close down Jana Ottmer and Lucas Blakely here. The gap was around 1.9 when he managed to overtake Ismail Fassi. It's now down to 1.4. He's not too far away now from getting into the DRS of Jana Ottmer, and that will be critical for not only his race, but Danny Berezne and Tom Manley behind him. So, he's doing a terrific job, is Jake Benham.
Thomas Ronhar then back into the pit lane after 12 laps on his set of the mediums, and pitted on lap number 1 after his unfortunate contact in that 3-wide incident. This race is continuing along. We are approaching the halfway point. We are only 80 subscribers away from reaching 16,000. There's 6,300 people watching at the minute. If you haven't already, please do make sure to subscribe to the WOR YouTube channel. Let's have a look at Nicolas Longe, who's all over the back of Otis Lawrence heading in towards turn number 12. Otis, without any DRS, is going to be a sitting duck to Nicolas Longe. He has got himself back into P6 in this Grand Prix. It's been an excellent recovery drive from Nico. He's got himself into P6, where of course we started in this race. However, he's still yet to pit. It's still a long way to go for Nicolas Longe. There is this Vanpookie up the inside of Luke Smith, who pitted for the hard compound of tyre from the mediums, and that just seems like an odd strategy call to even start on the medium tyres if the softs can go the same amount of distance in this race. Nevertheless, it's Vanpookie, the leading runner of the undercutters, now into P10.
Yeah, definitely an interesting call from Luke Smith, but it must be because he feels confident that the hard should be so much quicker than the mediums towards the end that it might be the better call. But as well as that, he was in a good position in qualifying. I don't think it was really necessary for him to start on the medium tyres. So again, an interesting call, and it could come back to bite him as well. And Ismail Fassi, by the way, staying out that extra lap has cost him dearly. He is behind Alvaro Caraton, Luke Smith and Istvan Pookie now. Again, he will have one lap fresher tyres towards the end, but I think he'll regret that mistake of staying out that extra lap compared to his competitors around him. But Jake Benham has done a superb job and now in the DRS range. He's obviously used a lot of the battery compared to the front two around him, but you've got to give credit to him because that was no easy task. Close it to both Jana Ottmer and Lucas Blakely. Yeah,
Jake Benham, he is on fire at the minute. I think he's got to be out of the hard runners. The quickest man out on circuit is now, you can see Jana Ottmer, he's pulling to the inside line. I think he might just be cooling the car ever so slightly. Overheating recently on the F1 games has become a bit of a feature here, where if you're spending too much time in the dirty air of the driver in front, you can have a little bit of temperature build up, and that can sacrifice some of your speed. Dylan Warren is up the inside of Ismail Fassi, down in towards turn number 12, and Thomas Ronhar is through on Tomek Paragic. There's moves being made throughout the entirety of the field. Thank you once again to Unefficient for your super chat, who's really wanting that Fanatec at this point. If you send about 500 more quid, maybe I'll finance that one myself. But yeah, nevertheless, we're on towards the lap number 16. Ryan, we're past the halfway point of the Grand Prix. The hard tyres, 15 laps old at this point. I think it's time almost to come into the pit lane.
Yeah, we're not too far away for these hard runners. I think it will be around lap 18. We'll see the first hard runner to come into the pits, or maybe even 17, because these guys are really pushing it at this moment in time, but they're looking really comfortable as well. And I think Nicolas Longe will be hoping for a safety car. Same for Otis Lawrence and Danny Moreno, because they are pretty much long out of this race winning scenario, unfortunately for them, but they're doing a good job nevertheless to close down this gap. And Danny Moreno's had a very good race as well, considering where he did qualify, and Thomas Ronhar setting the fastest lap of the race, and he is just driving for the sake of driving at this moment in time. A really unfortunate lap 1 incident for himself, and again, he will be another driver banking on the safety car.
Yeah, Thomas Ronhar, of course, he wanted to do a last question mark challenge. He didn't have a qualifying ban, and he's really sacrificed potential to get points here. Of course, he's He's won here before around this circuit, and so I'm just confused as to why he didn't want to go for that win again. Of course, he has also won, I believe, in every single season of WOR that he's started on the PC. Of course, he's a former Xbox champion. He's the current defending champion of Season 14. And unfortunately, he is out of the championship picture. We will have a new champion this season. Is it going to be Jan Uppbeat or is it going to be Nicholas Longe? We'll have to find out. At the minute, Jan Uppbeat will not be winning the championship, but if he's able to get ahead of Lucas Blakely and then Nicholas Longe finish outside of the top 8, Jan Uppbeat will be the champion. And a crucial thing, Lucas Blakely into the pit lane, both Mercedes staying out, and Jake Benham has got a 3-second time penalty.
Yeah, into turn 19, he just rode too much of that inside curve. The orange sausage curve just decided to spit him out, and he went all the way off the track, and that was a silly mistake there from Jake Benham. But again, it seems to me he's used up a lot of these tyres, and he's running out of grip. You can just see how he's struggling. Oh, through that first sector, the rear end was getting a little bit loose on him, and he had to really lift off the throttle a little bit there. You can just tell the grip on these hard tyres are massively fading away. But Jarno, we know he's able to look after these tyres brilliantly, and he's just pulling away now from Jake Benham, who will have to pit. But I do wonder if Jarno will cover off the undercut from Lucas Blakely, or he'll stay out for another lap, because we do know Jarno loves to stay out a lot longer than the rest of the field.
Jarno does love an overcut, and I'm pretty sure he did it in the first race of the season, which he ended up winning at Bahrain. There's Danny Berejnay overtaking Jake Benham, who's lost DRS to his teammate, and now he's now lost the position to Danny Berejnay, who's up into P2. It's been a great day for Danny so far. Of course, making a mistake in qualifying. His time would have been around about P7. He ended up P8 with the invalidation, but he's done a good job of getting himself into this race-winning fight. I think Jan Uppbeat has to pit to cover off the undercut. Lucas Blakely is going to be so far ahead if Jarno doesn't come into the pit lane at this point. We'll see, is the Dutchman going to come in? Indeed he will. So Jake Benham is going to be forced to stay out for at least another lap. Danny Berejnay into the pit lane as well, and imagine Nicholas Longe actually decides to stay out an extra run here. Danny Moreno into the pit lane, so now there's only 2 hard runners left on the circuit. Jake Benham had no choice whatsoever. Nicholas Longe, a bold strategy call, I'd say.
Yeah, Lucas Blakely now just coming out the final corner as well. He has just come across the start-finish straight, and that's a nice lap from him, and he's massively jumped Jan Uppbeat. And I think he'll be around 2 seconds clear the time. Yes, he will. Nearly 3 seconds in front of Jarno Uppbeat before he reaches turn 1. So that undercut, look how powerful that was. And Lucas Blakely's got the exact same ERS as well. So he has not really been deploying that battery whatsoever. So it just shows you the power of this undercut. But we'll have to wait and see if Jarno's going to be able to close down this gap. We've got Luke Smith, I think, must have spun around, by the way, into turn 1, and he made a mistake because now Lucas Blakely is all over the back of him. He's trying to force a move down the inside. He thinks better off it. He knows he's got the better grip at this point in the race. He gets a good exit, and he's going to have DRS, and he'll just breeze past the Alpine driver. Yeah,
I think the lifeline for Jan Uppbeat here is that Lucas Blakely is catching the drivers up ahead. Istvan Pukki is your net race leader, don't get that wrong. However, he's got 5 lap older tyres than Lucas Blakely at this point, and it is going to be night and day difference heading in towards the last few laps of this race. We've got 6,700 viewers watching at the moment. Thank you once again, everyone, for tuning in to WOR this evening. As I said before, you are what makes this possible. So once again, thank you for watching. As now we are looking at Lucas Blakely closing up to the rear of Dylan Warren, who's got 4 lap older medium tyres strapped onto that Red Bull, following in this DRS train. I think Lucas Blakely, I wonder if he's going to sit in behind these guys, save the tyres as much as he can, or maybe try and go for these moves and make and create a buffer zone between himself and Jan Uppbeat, who's still not even caught up to the rear of Luke Smith.
Yeah, I think that's a great point to mention. I think Lucas will go on the attack. I think he'll make sure he dispatches every single driver in front of him now as quick as he possibly can. Because if he can create a buffer, and the likes of Dylan Warren, Ismail Fassi really do put up a fight against Jan Uppbeat, he can really just look after his tyres towards the end of this race, and he'll be in a really nice position. So this is a vital part now of this race. how quickly does Lucas Blakely dispatch these older medium runners?
We'll see what he can do. He's close right up to the rear of Dylan Warren now. Of course, being able to overtake in the DRS train is so difficult to do, but he's on the battery and he's going to be able to cruise on by, and I think that's just the difference in grip that he got off the exit of the corner, translating into so much more top speed. In towards the braking zone they go. Easy move for Lucas Blakely. That is now 2 cars in between himself and Jarno Opmeer. Has Jarno blundered this by staying out at that extra lap and not pitting with Lucas Blakely, because that undercut has just allowed for Lucas to harvest these guys heading in towards now turn number 15. He goes up the inside of Ismail Fassi, who he was fighting for position with just about 10 laps ago, and now he's easily cruising on by with much fresher medium tyres. Lucas Blakely, he's got this race in the palm of his hands.
Yeah, I find it fascinating though that none of these drivers are really putting up much of a fight. Obviously they know the grip difference is really significant, but we've seen in past races where drivers have decided to fight, because remember, this is for position, and again, nobody really using the battery. They just know that Lucas is much quicker. Navarro Carreton even lifting off before the corner there, and that is what Dylan Warren did as well. So it'll be interesting to see now, will the same thing happen against Jarno Opmeer, or would he have slightly different treatment? We'll have to wait and see, but that was really interesting to see that nobody really decided to put up a fight there. I thought towards the end of this race, you never know, if they put up a bit of, get the elbows out, that they could maybe, you know, get a win or something. But obviously they feel off the long term that they know they've got to look after these tyres, and maybe it's just more sensible to not put up any kind of fight.
Here comes Lucas Blakely up the inside in towards turn number 11. Easy enough move up the inside there, and he'll have DRS to stretch that advantage as much as he can. You can see Jarno Opmeer just coming into picture in behind. I don't believe he's got DRS on Dylan Warren. However, Danny Beresnay does, and he's all over the back of Jarno Opmeer heading in towards turn number 12. Tom Manley in behind gets by on Luke Smith, who is losing a lot of time on these older hard tyres. The strategy call really just has not gone his way. Lucas Blakely then in the lead of this race on lap number 20 of 28. We are coming up towards 8 laps to go in this Grand Prix. Jarno Opmeer really does need to get a move on. He's got to push. Let's have a look at the ERS situations. Lucas Blakely, 60%. He's burning it to try and break that DRS to Istvan Pukki in behind. Very smart, very cerebral from Lucas Blakely there. Jarno at the minute, he's got 78% in the battery. I don't think it would hurt him to use it a little bit just to get within that DRS range of Dylan Warren, because they passed the detection point now, and even though Jarno Opmeer is within a second, he's sacrificing, I think, crucial tenths of a second to save that battery.
Yeah, it's really surprising as well that he hasn't really decided to maybe burn it a little bit more. But again, I think this is the calculation side of Jarno. He knows there's still a long way to go of this race. We're on lap 21 of 28. So, you know, there's plenty of time, and he's now comfortably within the DRS. So he wants to save the ERS to make sure that he can get past every single driver as efficiently as possible without burning too much ERS. Again, this is really smart driving from Jarno, but he's got to be careful because Lucas, again, he's got that buffer around 2.4 seconds, and he's only got around 30% of the battery. So this will be another critical part of the race. How quickly does Jarno dispatch these drivers in front of him? But as well as that, how much ERS is he able to save as well? Because here we go, he's going on the attack now, he's not using any of the battery. Again, Dylan Warren's not putting up any of a fight. He realises that Jarno Opmeer is significantly quicker, and there we go, a nice move down the inside. And could he do the same thing as Lucas Blakely? Could he make 2 moves in the space of 1 sector? He's going even earlier than Lucas Blakely, down the inside. A simple move into 13, coming up into 14 and 15 now. He's going to try and go the long way around into 15, and again, Ismail Fassi leaving some racing room. This is brilliant stuff between the pair of them, and Jarno will have the inside, and obviously Ismail's going to have to lift off because there's no grip on that outside line. That's a superb move from Jarno Opmeer, and it was really efficient as well. He's used minimum ERS, and he can go on the attack of Alvaro Carreton, who's just picked up a 3-second time penalty.
Great racecraft between Jarno Opmeer and Ismail Fassi. Alvaro Carreton struggling at the minute. Here comes Jarno Opmeer. Here comes, I believe, Danny Beresnay on the inside of Ismail Fassi. Jarno Opmeer makes the move stick in towards turn number 1. He'll get 2 as he goes up the inside of Istvan Pukki, makes the move stick, and now that is the gap. 4 seconds between Lucas Blakely and Jarno Opmeer. Jarno Opmeer has got slightly fresher tyres. It is only 1 lap. Is that going to make the difference in the end? Jarno's got to do his best to close 2 seconds to get within that DRS range of Lucas Blakely. And I think if he does that, the race is well and truly on. Danny Beresnay in behind. He's closing to the rear of Ismail Fassi, but it's been so difficult with everyone scrapping it out for position on lap number 22. He'll go up the inside using that late braking. He'll try and make the move stick off the exit of the corner. Danny Beresnay Berezhney. This is when veterancy beats youth. He'll make that move stick. And he gets ahead of Ismail Fassi. He'll be all over the rear of Alvaro Carreton very soon. Never mind, because there is Ismail Fassi. Back up the inside. Danny has no ERS whatsoever. In towards the corner they go. It's a terrible camera angle that we've got now. Alvaro Carreton up the inside of Ismail Pukki. Will he make the move stick? It's actually Danny Berezhney going for the move in towards the final sector. Danny up into P4.
Yeah, there's a poll in the chat. Who will Jarno Opmeer catch Lucas Blakely? That is the big question. I'm not too sure, because Lucas is looking really, really comfortable. But we'll have to wait and see how this all unfolds. If there's one man that can catch Lucas Blakely, it definitely is Jarno Opmeer. But in my opinion, I think the gap is just too big at this point in the race. We'll have to wait and see how this all unfolds. Strap yourselves in, folks, because this could be a really dramatic end to this race.
Danny Berezhney on the inside of his teammate Isfan Pukki. No fight really put up there. Jarno Opmeer has closed 1 second within this lap, and I'd once again like to turn the attention to the viewer count. We are up to 7,000 people watching this evening. These numbers are surreal. Thank you everyone so much for tuning in. Jake Benham has made a move on Luke Smith. Tom Manley has gone at the inside of Otis Lawrence. Sorry, I think it might have been Dylan Warren making the move on Tom Manley or something like that. I'm not too sure. Nevertheless, thank you everyone so much for tuning in this evening. These numbers are unheard of here in WOR, and it's such a pleasure to bring you the action here tonight. We've got 5.5 laps left to go. Lucas Blakely, just 2 laps ago, was 4 seconds clear of Jarno Opmeer. The gap has been cut down now to 2.5 seconds. Jarno is flying. Let's have a look at the ERS situations. Jarno's got 20% in the battery. Around about the same for Lucas Blakely. These two on level pegging. There's a move up the inside, I believe, for Ismail Fassi on Alvaro Carreton, who's struggling at the moment. Danny Moreno's making a move as well. Ryan battles all over the place.
Yeah, it's all starting to kick off. I think lap 26 will be the critical point in this race. If Jarno is at least within a second of Lucas Blakely, he will have the perfect opportunity to win this race, because he needs to somehow recoup enough battery as well, because obviously Lucas Blakely has that slight ERS advantage, and Jarno Opmeer actually went wide in turn 19. That's a costly mistake there from the Dutchman, and that could pick up a warning as well. So he's got to be careful at this point in the race now. He can't be too desperate. He has to be careful not to make any kind of mistake, and he needs to make sure he's closing down this gap. But you can see the effect of the marbles on Lucas Blakely on that right-hand side. He went a little bit wide into turn 1, and that really cost him a little bit of time there. So again, these drivers can't afford to make any kind of mistake. If they run a little bit wide, they get marbles on the tyres, and that causes only more drama.
The guessing game, I love it and I hate it. What are the warnings looking like for these guys? Ryan, if you can, please check out the race director to see how many warnings Lucas Blakely and Jarno Opmeer both have, because if Lucas Blakely gets a penalty, Jarno Opmeer is within that 3-second window that he would need to win this race. So really, both of these guys have got to be pinpoint accurate heading into the last few laps of this race. Jake Benham on the fresh medium tyres up the inside of Tom Manley. He appears to be, I think, one of the quickest drivers out on circuit. Nicholas Longa is all over the rear of Danny Moreno as well. It really just has been a recovery drive for Nico today. He's on the cusp of getting himself back into the points paying positions. Moves being made up ahead. Dylan Warren and Alvaro Carreton scrapping it out for P5. Carreton with a penalty, Dylan Warren without one. It should be Dylan taking the position towards the end of the race. Jake Benham is seeing this as a great opportunity to go around the outside now. Dylan Warren heading in towards turn number 15. Job done for him, and he's up to P7. But of course, once again, has a penalty to his name.
Yeah, to update you on the warning situation, Jarno Opmeer's only driver out of himself and Lucas Blakely to have one warning. Nobody else has Lucas does not have a warning himself. So Jarno Opmeer does have one warning to his name, and he can still push it a little bit with the track limits towards the end. He can obviously get one more, and then after that it will be a penalty. So again, he's got to be smart with this. But at the same time, Danny Berezhney, by the way, he had 2 warnings. It could have been one could be for contact, obviously, but I do think he is 1 warning away from a penalty himself.
Jarno Opmeer is not really catching enough at this point. Just like 2 laps ago or something, it was 2.5 seconds. He's only 2.3 back from Lucas Blakely, so he's not making enough progress at this point. I really do hate to say it, because Jarno Opmeer is a driver I'd love to see winning this race and taking his 2nd championship. Nicholas Longa rubbing salt into the wounds of his own Grand Prix. With 5-lap-old softs, he's picked up a time penalty, down in 11th position. I think that's going to shoot any chance of him getting P8 in this race out of the water completely. Jake Benham has done a great job on these fresh medium tyres. He's now up into P4 because that's a double overtake in towards turn number 12. Ismail Fassi and Isfan Pookie really had no defence whatsoever. Dylan Warren still fighting it out with Tom Manley, and I think Tom Manley finally is going to come out on top. Here now is Dylan Warren around the outside. It's Otis Lawrence around the outside of Dylan Warren heading in towards turn number 15. Nicholas Longue will follow the Aston Martin driver through and he'll get himself into the top 10, but crucially, with that penalty, it could end his championship tonight.
Yeah, it's a real shame for Nicholas. He had that screen freeze, and that has cost him, unfortunately, absolutely dearly, because he's all the way back down in P10, and he has got a penalty to his name. So that's an unfortunate little incident there for him. But Jarno's now started to actually drop from Lucas Blakely instead of catching him. It's just on the straights, with the ERS advantage that Lucas does have. He's just able to just keep that straight line speed a lot higher, because obviously the ERS situation is a bit better. So that's unfortunate for Jarno. Again, I told you it was going to be a crucial part of the race. How quickly was each driver going to be able to dispatch the traffic? And obviously Lucas did it much better, and he obviously had that undercut as well. He had the battery, and that I think the undercut was the big key turning point in this race, because to be able to pull 3 seconds just from a pit stop alone has really been the big turning point in this race.
We know that Jarno Opmeer, he loves to do these overcuts and have the fresher tyres towards the end, but I just think the traffic really has hindered him in this race, and now he's lost so much time to Lucas Blakely. If it was that 3-second window that he had, and he's closed this much up in just a few laps, I think without the traffic there, Jarno would be within the DRS range of Lucas Blakely. A move once again being made further back behind, in and around that 4th to 8th slot. They are just fighting it out lap after lap. It is great to see. But yeah, as I'm saying, with 2 laps to go in this race now, this time by, it just seems impossible at this point for Jarno Opmeer to win the Grand Prix with Lucas Blakely not making a mistake at this point. And more moves being made at the end of the second sector, now in towards sector 3. Nicholas Longue is up the inside of Otis Lawrence, who's holding it around the outside in towards turn number 18 and 19. Alvaro Caraton is on the inside of Tom Manley. These guys are going to keep scrapping it out on towards the penultimate lap of this race. Nicholas Longue is down the inside of Otis Lawrence through turn number 20. Can he make the move stick off the exit?
Yeah, that was sensational from Nicholas Longue, just to catch Otis out. I didn't think he really expected it. I certainly didn't. And Otis is really making this. Oh my goodness me, Nicholas down the inside. He's gone so late on the brakes. How has he not crashed into Tom Manley there? That is sensational car control from Nicholas Longue. He's made the move stick as well, by the way. Breathtaking. Otis Lawrence has lost 2 places now in the space of 2 corners. Danny Moreno, opportunistic down the inside. Simply breathtaking stuff from Nicholas Longue. He was sideways into turn 1.
Oh my word, and he's come away with that unscathed in P9. Ahead of now Danny Moreno, who's got himself into the top 10. It's been a great day for Danny. We know, I mean, from Zandvoort, he qualified in 16th and he ended up finishing in the top 5. Now from qualifying down in 16th again in the United States, he's found himself back into a points paying position, and I think he's looking for more. He's all over the back of Nicholas Longue heading in towards turn number 12. It's a bit opportunistic to go for the move this time by. However, Tom Manley is running deep. Nicholas Longue potentially invited to go for the move in the final sector. These guys need to take a break. All of them getting penalties at this point. Jake Benham, Ismail Fassi, Alvaro Caraton and Nicholas Longue, now all of them have penalties. Danny Moreno does not, and now he's trying to go around the outside of Nicholas Longue, but it just doesn't seem to work at this point. We're looking at Danny Moreno. His teammate Lucas Blakely is beginning the final lap of this race. Jarno Opmeer has not been able to close up enough. It's now 2.5 seconds between Lucas and Jarno, who's apparently suffering with some tyre overheating issues. Danny Beresnay is going to sit a comfortable P3, but at this point, Lucas, he just looks uncatchable.
Yeah, he's on a flawless race as Lucas Blakely. He's been calculated from the get-go. It's been a really dominant display from the Scotsman. Again, it's really smart driving from Lucas Blakely. But this battle for P5, I believe it is absolutely breathtaking stuff between every single driver involved. Nicholas is desperate to get involved in front of Tom Manley, but Danny Moreno, he's incredibly quick at this point in the race. He obviously has the better tyres, and he's got a sensational exit out of turn 9. Coming through turn 10 now. Will he go down the inside into turn 11? Let's wait and see. He pulls out to the inside. Oh, Nicholas go down the inside as well. They're 3 wide into turn 11. How has there not been any contact between those drivers? I think there was. Tom Manley and Nicholas Onge banging wheels a little bit there, but breathtaking stuff how no driver has somehow spun around there. Danny Moreno has the better ERS compared to the three of them. He's going to go to the outside line with 3 wide into turn 12 potentially. Danny Moreno backing out of it. Nicholas Onge down the inside of Tom Manley. He's got the move done. Is Tom Manley going to brave it down the inside? He is into turn 13. He holds it, but Nicholas Longe, a breathtaking move, and he's got the move done. And Otis Lawrence trying to go down the inside as well. Danny Moreno around the outside. He's been forced off the track by Tom Manley. He's hanging it in there. Oh my goodness me. 2 wide again, and Danny Moreno's down the inside, and he's made the move stick. Has he? No, he hasn't. Tom Manley's still there, but he backs out of it. Unbelievable.
And at the front of the order, Lucas Blakely's come across the line. He's won here in USA. Jarno Opmeer in P2. Danny Beresnay finishes up in P3. And after all the penalties are applied, it is Ispan Pukki in P5. P6 for Moreno, 7th for Tom Manley. Otis Lawrence, 8th. 9th for Dylan Warren. And Ismail Fassi in 10th. Nicholas Longe with the penalty is down in 13th. However, since Jarno Opmeer didn't end up winning this race, we go to Miami. Jarno Opmeer still leading the way in the championship. Nicholas Longe, I mean, it's so unlucky, I'd say, for Nico to have that screen freeze, but being caught up in that melee, he just wasn't able to get himself in the top 8. The penalty was the final nail in the coffin, but he's been given a lifeline. There's still hope for him heading in towards the last 3 rounds of this season. But now with this P2, Jarno Opmeer, that's his 9th podium of the season in 12 races. It is utter dominance from the Dutchman, and he's surely next week he's got to wrap it up. But at the top of the order, Lucas Blakely pitted a lap earlier than Jarno Opmeer, broke away from the rest, and he took a fantastic victory this evening.
Yeah, it was unbelievable stuff from Lucas Blakely, and yeah, that was simply breathtaking from a performance-wise for him. He will be very, very happy with that. From start to finish, he was just in the zone, and it was a deserved victory for him. But again, Jarno Opmeer, I think, will be very happy with that performance. I think the Overcut would have worked if Lucas did get held up by the traffic a little bit longer. But unfortunately for him, it just didn't go his way in the end. But what a race we had here at COTA. It did not disappoint.
No, not at all. And you can see everyone spraying the champagne at the top of the podium. We'll have a look at the classification. Lucas Blakely does take victory in this race ahead of Jarno Opmeer in 2nd. 3rd is Danny Beresnay. 4th for Jake Benham. And then Ispan Pukki rounds out the top 5. Danny Moreno, once again, making up a number of places in this Grand Prix. Started down in 16th, ends up P6 today. What a race from the Spaniards. Tom Manley in P7 after starting in 10th. And Otis Lawrence, he was my bold prediction for a podium today. Unfortunately, it didn't come up for him. He finishes in 8th. 9th for Dylan Warren from 15th on the grid. And then Ismail Fassi rounding out that top 10. I'll bring us back over to the intermission screen so we can digest what we have just witnessed. What a race once again, Ryan. I mean, it was so fun to watch throughout the entirety of it, and we hit our peak viewership of all time. I think we were about 7,200, something like that, at its very pinnacle. I can get the exact figure. Indeed, 7,219 people tuned in today. Thank you, everyone, so much for watching. What a race it was.
Yeah, it was absolutely breathtaking, and my spicy prediction sort of did come true. Nicholas Longley did unfortunately have that screen freeze, which sort of involves a little bit of an incident. But that was a real shame for Nicholas because, again, he was on for a good result. And, it's really frustrating for something like that to happen to a driver because, again, he would have probably scored good points. I feel like if that incident didn't happen. But, again, I'm sure he'll learn from that. But at the same time, he'll be very, very happy with the way he drove as well. To come back through the field like he did was very, very impressive to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm out of breath after this race. It was so fun to watch. And I think the key thing to take away from this one is that Jarno Opmeer is not our champion at this moment in time. However, with that P2 and no points as it stands at the minute, of course, pending any stewards results, Nicholas Longe has really got, I think he's got to probably win every single race, and Jarno Opmeer he can't finish in the points. It is that dominant from Jarno Opmeer this evening. He increases his total by 18 this evening. The gap was already 55, so what, it's now 83 points at the top or something? No, maybe 73 points at the top of the standings. Mind-blowingly dominant from Jarno Opmeer. So Nico has 2 points of leeway to give to Jarno Opmeer.
Yeah, and I think again, Jarno will know what he'll need to do next week, and that's what I think he knew as well here tonight. Obviously, he wants to win every race, like any driver does here in WOR. But at the same time, he's got to think of the championship. He can't really afford to make any silly mistakes. And I think tonight you saw a really smart drive where he really didn't take any big risks at all. I think the only significant part of the race where he had a heart and mouth moment was into turn 13 where he made that move down the inside of Ismail Fassi. But again, he was super clean from him, and he made sure he made no contact where he'd lose any kind of front wing damage. So again, it was a really good performance from Jarno. And again, on to Miami next week. I'm sure he'll have the championship wrapped up at that track.
Yeah, I'm really hoping that we can get these guys in for an interview. Lucas Blakely, Jarno Opmeer and Danny Beresnay. Fingers crossed we get them in the commentary box and we can talk to any one of them, because all of them, they're all very interesting. They have a lot of things to say. I can see Danny is in there now. I don't know if I can drag him in on my phone or not. I don't think I can. Ryan, can you bring Danny into the commentary box?
I'll see if I can, yeah.
Wonderful. I mean, yeah, just thinking. Oh, there we go. We've got Danny Beresnay in the interview room. I'll bring us over to the post-race interview screen. Danny, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you guys. Hello.
Okay, so let's talk about your qualifying. You topped Q1 and Q2, but it got away from you in Q3. Talk about what happened there.
Yeah, qualifying was ideal and not ideal at the same time. I did a faster lap in Q2 than what I actually did in Q3. I'm happy to be comfortable in the top 10, but obviously after seeing those sessions, I didn't quite liked my end result of Q3. I invalidated my last one. I was improving around 1.5 tenths. Probably would have not been pole around P5 to P3 where I started from if I finish it, which is still something to look into, because I just want to maximize each sessions and not only the first two. So there is definitely lessons to learn. But this result definitely made the race more interesting with all the different strategies and fights on track. With Nicolas' technical issue, I lost the DRS train, had to waste a lot of battery to get back. And I'm just very happy to finish right behind Jarno, who was basically doing the same strategy that I did, just from a little bit more ahead. I think there was not a lot more into that. And congratulations to Lucas Blakely on the wonderful race pace, especially in the second stint, and winning this race. He just joined the interview, so guys, you won't miss him.
Love you, Danny.
Some great sportsmanship between the pair of the podium sitters this evening. Danny, it's your first race of season 15. Last time you were here it was P6 in Austria in season 14. How does it feel to be back in WOR?
It feels good. I'm not sure if I can come next week because we will travel the day before from Mercedes to Hungary, and it takes a little bit time to adapt to the equipment. Also doing some content, so probably won't be practicing a lot. That's why I'm also happy that Jarno could extend his championship league. Obviously, we will try our best as a team to get him that amazing individual result.
Yeah, of course. So are you down? I think he's at the Mercedes factory. You down there at the minute?
Yeah. Everyone is here.
Oh, wonderful stuff. It's great to see everyone, working together. Maybe if you can, just give him a nudge. Tell him to join the waiting for interview room, because I really would love to talk to him.
Yeah, I think he's continuing his stream.
Ah.
So the good thing about Jarno is that he's never happy with P2. So
yeah,
that's what we like to aim for.
That's very true. He's a real perfectionist, that Jarno guy. But yeah, really well done from me, Danny, on your P3. Ryan, anything you want to say to Danny here?
Yeah, just quickly, Danny. You came out at roughly about the same point as Jarno as well. You're in his slipstream and his DRS. And do you think maybe DRS management could have been a little bit more efficient? Because obviously when Jarno managed to get through, I think you had a bit of a tougher time due to your ERS situation compared to some of the other drivers around you. You think maybe looking back, could you have maybe had a bit more ERS and could have made your life a little bit easier?
I was under 20% here as basically from lap 6 when Nico disconnected to the end of the race. I'm already happy to finish right behind him. It didn't matter at the end, but I came from P8. He started P1, 2, 3, somewhere there. And I mean, obviously, to make moves at the beginning of the race, I needed to use some more battery. I don't think I could have done a significantly better job. I am quite happy with how my race went.
Yeah, well done, and thank you for racing here tonight. You put on an unbelievable showing.
Thank you very much, and have a nice evening, everyone.
Thank you.
Okay, and that concludes the interview with Danny Beresnay. Thank you so much for tuning in. Ryan, we've got our race winner in the stream. You want to talk to Lucas Blakely here?
Yeah, Lucas, that was an unbelievable run in qualifying to get pole, and the way you set yourself up for that race. Just take me through that opening stint as well. I think that was a really calculated opening stint from yourself, letting Ismail and Luke Smith go through, but then vitally at the same time making the moves at the right time as well to make the overtakes and really try and pull away from Yana. But unfortunately, you weren't able to. But then the pit stop happened, and then that undercut was an incredible decision.
Yeah, it was one of those races or one of those days even where everything just slots into place at the right time. It's like sort of like your dream scenario. It's what you sort of plan or prepare for, and thankfully it all worked out. So yeah, starting with qualifying, honestly, I was kind of struggling from the first. I mean, I was weird because I think many drivers would maybe agree as well that Kota is incredibly hard to string together. Even 2 laps that look remotely the same, especially with the marbles that are like as well. So it was, yeah, you just had to get the laps in when you could. It was not easy at all to put the laps in. Q1 and 2 were sketchier than I would have liked. And then Q3, I just went in with trying to be as perfect as possible in the first run. I was on a decent lap. I didn't have a good last sector though, but so then I knew, and it was always tricky because if you have if you don't get the lap in when you can, there's absolutely zero guarantee you're going to get it with the marbles, especially in the last run of Q3. It's really, really bad. So I was thinking, I didn't know if I'd blown the chance of pole or not. So yeah, went into the last run, just flung it to the wall. Sent it a bit more and put the last sector together and managed just to get pole. But I had to sort of clutch up a little bit more. For it wasn't a straightforward one. We had to really, make everything happen, basically do everything right for it to be possible. As there was, Jarno was looking quick, a lot of guys were looking quick, Nico was quick. Incredible pace from a lot of people, so we had to really, nail everything. Race was, as you say, just everything slotted into place. The first stint, I feel like what we've seen so much in this game is people get so caught up in the moment, and then you end up having situations where there's people thinking maybe, I say people generally, this isn't like in particular, but it's people end up having, thinking of lap 1 than in lap 28. And for me, I was thinking, well, this race isn't going to get won in the first stint. It doesn't matter if, Ismail gets 5 seconds up the road, because I know, I say 5 seconds, generally, it's just for whatever number, but it doesn't matter how far ahead he gets, because I know I'm going to catch him when his tyres drop off pretty quickly anyway. And I didn't mind Luke Smith going ahead either, because again, the mediums are punchier for the start. So it was just patience, and thankfully Jarno is one of those drivers as well who's always thinking, laps and laps ahead as well. So it was, in the first stint, it was quite in harmony, it was quite in sync. So it was good. And second stint was just bang on the money, nailed the pit lap. I was happy to make the undercut from the lead, because I knew the undercut was really strong, had a good outlap, cut through the traffic, way better than you could have dreamed of. It was very minimally disruptive, and I get really punchy to my engineers in the car. I was just like, minimal talking. I was just like really trying to make sure I opened up the gap when I had the chance. I wanted to drop everybody and run, use my battery wisely, because I knew that, even 1 lap tire advantage can be significant, and that's how you saw, Jarno was like 3.8 seconds behind, and then he got it down to 2.6 within the space of maybe 2 laps, 3 laps because of when the tyres dipped down. Because I was thinking ahead of this, but once everything sort of leveled out with the ERS and the tyres dropping a little bit, I felt like I was able to keep everything in check. So it was a dream day. Great execution. Cheers to the team as well, the McLaren Shadow lads, for giving me a bloody good strategy. Still work to do. It wasn't a perfect day, but it was always nice to get the result regardless, because for me it's not really about necessarily always the result. Like, I mean, I had a race where, Jeddah recently, where I was, not the result was obviously not great, but I was still pretty happy because I felt like the pace was good. For me, it's not always about the result. Obviously coming P1 is nice, but I'm also much happier about the process that goes into, behind all of that, basically. So the pace or the strategy, how we've prepared before it. I'm more interested in the details because I'm thinking, months down the line when we have to obviously compete in esports. So, I will. Pretty happy with that.
Yeah, and rightly so, because what I found was the most significant part of the race was that pit stop phase, was when you had to overtake those cars who had pitted earlier, of course, on those medium tyres. I was thinking at the same time, obviously, what you must have been thinking is just use minimal ERS, but make sure you dispatch them as quickly as possible. And you did that perfectly, I thought.
Yeah, I mean, it was just a dream scenario because I basically didn't even need to use almost any energy to pass because the tyre advantage was, awesome by that point. When you pit, I mean, I think I pitted lap 16, and some of these cars were probably pitting lap 10, 11, 12, whatever it was. So, I know by that point they are probably a second, no, I don't know, but maybe a second, I mean, whatever they are, slower, a second a lap or whatever it may be. So it was, again, dream scenario, cut through to the lead, and then the most important part for me was making sure I hit the afterburners and got away. Because I knew obviously you'd have Jarno coming through and whoever else was coming through with him. You just don't know how much they're going to get held up. I'm just glad that everything just slotted into place today. It's just one of those days where it was just everything was close to perfection as possible on like the strategy side and getting through people. So yeah, it was nice.
Well, congratulations once again, Lucas. That was a really flawless performance from you. Dan, do you have anything to ask?
I've just got one little question here, Lucas. Of course, so far this season, you've missed 5 races, and you're still within a championship winning position. You're 71 points back from Jarno, which in the last 3 rounds is possible for you to take the title. Do you think if you were here for those 5 rounds that you missed, would you be closer or maybe ahead of Jarno?
Well, I mean, it's pointless to say because ultimately, I keep seeing on my Twitter, right? I get tagged in posts. It's like, oh, the championship permutations. Jan Ottmeer's championship leader. Lucas Blakely still has a mathematical chance. I was like, guys, I've missed like 100 races. It's like I'm not thinking about the championship whatsoever. I've not been thinking. I mean, people don't believe you when you say it, but genuinely, like these, for me, I'm not really focusing on any championship standing or anything. I'm focusing on how we prepare for races and one by one, and it's the same for whether it's WOR, PSGL. I'm not really focusing at all on the championship. But just not me saying that in a negative way. I'm just saying for me, ultimately my focus is on making sure that we're working well day in day out. Because ultimately when esports comes knocking, whenever that is, I want to be in the best shape for that. I'm thinking months down the line, whenever it is. So I'm just happy with today's result. I'll go from there, and sweet.
Well, maybe season 16 then is the target for you once once F1 Esports is over, and then you can come back, fight for the championship. Really well done today. I mean, this is your 3rd win of the season, your 6th podium. In every single race you've finished, you've been on the podium. So it's just utter consistency from yourself. So really well done, and hopefully, if you're here for Miami, it could be a good race from yourself.
Oh, thank you very much, lads, and hope the race was enjoyable to watch. Thanks for having me, and see you whenever I'm next on the grid, whenever that may be. It's a mystery.
Thank you, Lucas.
Okay, I'm losing the plot. I'm getting ridiculed for making this a podcast, apparently. So, Lucas Blick, the podcast is over. See you guys whenever. It's been epic. See you later. See you.
All right. Thank you, Lucas, for joining us in the commentary box for your interview. But I'll bring us back over to the intermission. We can talk about the race once again. Heading into Miami next time out. I don't know why I said about the race, and then I go straight to Miami. But yeah, we go to Miami next. I believe for the first time in WORPC. So it could be a lot of fun to see who's got the pace around there.
Yeah, I think it'll be an interesting race because Miami always throws, a little bit of curveball in it. Could see some rain. You never know with Miami. It's always an interesting track, and there has been history with some interesting moves being made. And obviously, it's still quite a new track to some drivers because, again, not a lot of people like to race around there. And so I'll be, again, interested to see how it all unfolds at Miami. And hopefully, everybody who tuned in tonight will come back again next week. So again, big thank you for everybody who tuned in. Huge numbers.
I mean, it was incredible to see. I believe the peak was 7,278, which is unreal to what we've ever seen here before in WO. I think the peak was from last week's stream, which was about 5,500, and then we've jumped all the way up to 7,000. Mind-blowing stuff. Thank you everyone for tuning in to WO. We've still got 1,300 people watching, well over maybe 20 minutes after the race finished, watching for the interviews, and I like to think, Ryan, watching for you and I, but yeah, I mean it's incredible to see how many people tune in to WOR week in, week out. The growth has been insane, and it is all thanks to everyone interacting with us in the live chat. It is a pleasure to get to speak to everyone when everyone is nice and civil. Of course, sometimes we have to tell people off for being a bit toxic, but today it has been a joy to speak to everyone. It's a joy to see all of your lovely comments as well. I mean, Ryan, we were getting a lot of love in the live chat throughout the entirety of it, so it was so fun to watch the race today. It was so fun to interact with everyone, and it just makes it worth it because when you get to talk to viewers and when the racing is clean, it just becomes fun. And that's what this is at the end of the day. We do this for fun. All the drivers do it for fun, and hopefully everyone else in the chat is watching for fun.
Yeah, again, thank you, Saha, for your comment. And he did point it out quite rightly. I did make a bold prediction about Nicholas or Jan again,
right.
Some kind of incident. I was right, so maybe I'm a bold prediction. And again, thank you for the nice comment as well. Really do appreciate it. It means a lot for me and Dan. For that kind of comment. So really do appreciate it. And thank you for the donation as well. Again, we had 3 donations, I think, throughout this stream here tonight. Again, so thank you to everybody. This all goes towards WR. It doesn't go into either mine or Dan's pockets or Luke's. It'll go straight really back into the channel. And really just thinking of ways to improve WR to make sure that you guys at home have the best possible viewing experience. So again, thank you so much to everybody who tuned in here tonight.
Thank you so much for that donation, Sila. Hopefully I say that name right. I do know that currency is the South African Rand, I believe.
Oh.
So I know that one. I know that. I totally didn't just Google it right now. But thank you so much for your very kind donation of 99.99 Rand. That is so amazing. Thank you. Thank you to all the donations tonight. That's 4 now that we've had this evening, which is just incredible to see. I mean, I don't know. I say thank you so many times, and I just mean it from the bottom of my heart. It is so incredible to come here on WOR week in, week out, and talk to everyone here and commentate like I've been doing since season 12. This is now my 4th season in WOR PC Tier 1. I'm not going anywhere. Ryan, hopefully you're not going anywhere either. But yeah. Wow. Just once again, thank you so much. And I think I've got to end the stream before I keep rambling on throughout the rest of the night. So once again, for the 1,000,000th time, thank you so much for tuning in this evening. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the WOR YouTube channel and leave a like on the stream. I believe we have reached over 16,000 subscribers here, so the growth, once again, is insane. If you want to follow WOR on Twitter, it is at WOR League. And if you want to keep up to date with all of your WOR news, you can join the link in the Discord. If you want to follow myself on Twitter, it is at DanfieldF1_. And if you want to follow Ryan, it is Ryan with 4 underscores. And then Jacobs. Thank you once again, everyone, so much for tuning in. We will see you next time out in Miami. But for tonight, thank you so much and good evening.
Thank you.